everybody, man. It's been a few days since I've been on air, man. The weather's been crazy up here in Jersey, man. So it's just been getting at that snow, trying to holler at that dollar, man. So I apologize to all my viewers. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry I haven't put out any material lately, but I'm gonna try to be more consistent and do this thing on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Tim Harvey, Miss Carolyn? Good morning to y'all. Yeah, Tim Harvey, I was on a world tour yesterday, man. I was on a chilling circuit, man. You know what I mean? Getting bruised up a little bit. Tim Harvey, I was getting bruised up. Triple OG, salute, double salute to my big bro, Triple OG. I love you, big dog. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. Carolyn is definitely in the building. Miss Carolyn, you was the first one in class, Miss Carolyn. So we gonna give you the Student of the Day award. That's what's up. But yo, peace to Tim, peace to my man Triple OG, and peace to Miss Carolyn Lowe in the building today. Yo, man, I got an action-packed show for y'all today. I got a lot of things I want to talk about, man. If you read the title, I want to talk about the bombshell that was dropped on Saturday concerning the death of our great Malik El-Shabazz, also known as Malcolm X. That was a bomb, folks. It's not to say that a lot of us are like shocked, right? But the fact that it came out, right, and the confession letter and everything, you know what I mean? That's deep, right? And I definitely want to talk about that. Excuse me. I also want to talk about some other things that I had on my mind, right? Because it's a lot going on in the world, especially when it comes to black people. It's a lot going on, man. So I also want to talk about the third stimulus. Definitely talk about that and what's going on with that. I definitely want to give a little bit of run on that. What else I wanted to talk about? It was something else I wanted to talk about. Let me get my notes here. I had some notes that I have written down. That I wanted to like check out on my thing here. But first and foremost, I definitely want to talk about this story out of New York, right? This is real big. This is huge, folks. And I'm not gonna say huge in the sense that, it's not something that we're not used to or whatever in America. But it was just kind of, yeah, Miss Carol, this is how I look, baby. I'm sorry, this is how I look. How y'all doing? Yo, please, and everybody hit the like and share and subscribe button. Tell your friends that AC Star is live. I know it's going to take a few minutes for everybody to start coming on in. So I'm going to kick it for a few minutes, but I don't want to be too late on the information. So since I'm on StreamYards, I can go ahead and talk about it. And if I get some people that want to join the panel later, we can definitely revisit some of the information that I shared at the beginning. But I just want to start off by talking about this story. It's not a shock, that something like that happened because we all know the history behind black organizations and when you have black organizations that's seeking to refine or do better for their people. We've known over history, or we've read historical accounts, or we've read firsthand accounts of how these organizations were being infiltrated by the government, particularly COINTELPRO, right? We're all familiar with the idea of COINTELPRO and what they've done to the black community, especially when it came to black leaders or black men and women who sought to change or be defenders of black life. So we know there's some history with COINTELPRO. We can almost name the people, the Hoovers of the world, the J. Edgar Hoovers of the world, the FBI. There's so many people that we can name, and so many, I guess you would say, spy agency or investigative bureaus in America that sought to undermine these organizations as they attempted to give black people a sense of power and a sense of direction through these organizations. And for some within our government structure, they never wanted this. To be an issue. They didn't want black people to have power as they were trying to get themselves together and make that white way of life the way of life. They didn't want black opportunity to become equal and on par with whiteness or white opportunity. So they sought to undermine these agencies because they felt like no black man or black woman or black organization should have the power that equals or threatens the power of the federal government. So we've watched, over the centuries and over the decades, how black organizations or black freedom movements have been infiltrated. Even if we go back into the Denmark Vesey when he did his thing, or John Brown and what's his name when they did their thing. His name would come to me in a minute. So it's a lot going on, right? It's a lot going on when it comes to us and what we do. There's a lot of forces that come together to undermine our attempts to get freedom and get courage and the defenders of our blackness. So I don't want to go into a long diatribe. Good morning, Kai. Good morning, my friend. Glad to see you in the building. Good morning to my man, Black Donovan, Manosphere Fixer. Salute, brother. Seen you on Red Show a few times. Didn't know you had a channel. When I hear you speak, I'm like, damn, my story very similar. Much respect. Much respect to you for showing up, my brother. Much respect for you. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to definitely check your channel if you have one. And I'm subscribed because I always like kicking it with like minds. Sweet P, salute, my wonderful sister. Sweet P, salute. Good morning to you. So, let me jump into this. A new letter alleging that New York City Department's connection to the killing of civil rights leader Malcolm X was released to the public one day before the 56th anniversary of his death. 3 men were convicted in the case, but now a cousin of Ray Wood, who was an undercover police officer at the time, has come forward alleging new evidence. Malcolm X was shot dead on the Audubon Ballroom February 21st in 1965, right? So on Saturday, Wood's cousin Reggie shared a confession letter the former cop signed on January 25, 2011, claiming responsibility in ensuring the security detail of Malcolm X was arrested days before the assassination. Now check that out. Let me read this. Let me go further. My job was to infiltrate the civil rights organization throughout New York City to find evidence of criminal activity so the FBI could discredit and arrest its leaders, Wood stated in the letter. Under the direction of my handlers, I was told and to encourage leaders and members of civil rights groups to commit felonious acts. In his letter, the former officer claimed that his actions were done under duress and fear of retaliation. He signed the letter and instructed his cousin to hold the information till after his passing. Reggie Wood said the former officer confessed his involvement in 2011 when he believed a worsening cancer would take his life. He ultimately went into remission and lived until November 2020. Hey, he lived till recently. For 10 years, I've carried this confession secretly in fear of what would happen to my family and myself if the government found out what I knew, Reggie Wood said. The 3 daughters of Malcolm X, Corbelia, Ilyasa, and Gamila Shabazz joined civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who shouldn't have been there. I'm not a Ben Crump fan, right? I don't think, and please don't nobody be upset with me when I say this. For me, Ben Crump's inability to coherently speak for me is a problem, especially when the things that he's trying to combat and stand up for, we just need a more eloquent speaker at the podium. Not to say that Ben Crump isn't a genius, isn't a great attorney. You know what I mean? I'm not taking any of that away from him. But I think that there needs to be a more eloquent voice at the table when it comes to things like that. And Ben Crump just don't cut it for me. Now I'm back to this letter. Now, it's a few things in this letter. I want to read the whole letter if I can. I got the whole letter here. Let me read this whole letter to you real quick. I'm going to try to make it fast. Hey, yeah, Sweet P, I'm sorry. I don't even know who did that, but I pulled you out of there, baby. I got you out of there. I don't even know who did that. And thank you for coming through. Please hit the like and share button. Please tell a friend that I'm rocking live right now. But this is what the letter says. I, Raymond A. Wood, being of sound mind and body, wish to confess the following. I was a black New York City undercover police officer from April 1964 through May of 1971. I participated in actions that in hindsight were deplorable and detrimental to the advancement of my own black people. My actions on behalf of the New York City Police Department, or it got in parentheses, it got BOSSI, so I guess that's the Bureau of I'm going to look that up in a minute. I think that's like an investigative arm of the NYPD at that time. We done under duress and fear that if I did not follow the orders of my handler, I could face detrimental consequences presently. I am aging with failing health. Recently, I have learned of the death of Mr. Thomas Johnson and are deeply concerned with my death, and his family will not be able to exonerate him after being wrongly convicted in killing of Malcolm X. The facts are as follows. April 17, 1964, I was hired by the New York City Police Department without training and I was immediately signed to the Bossy Investigation Unit. My job was to infiltrate civil rights organizations throughout New York City to find evidence of criminal activity so the FBI could discredit and arrest its leaders. After witnessing repeatedly brutality at the hands of my co-workers, police, I tried to resign and I was threatened with arrest for pinning marijuana and alcohol trafficking charges on me if I did not follow through with assignments. Under the direction of my handlers, I was told to encourage leaders and members of civil rights groups to commit felonious acts. The Statue of Liberty bombing idea was created by my supervisor and handler using surveillance that the agency learned that Bao and Syed were key players in Malcolm X crowd control security detail. It was my assignment to draw these two men into a felonious federal crime so they could be arrested by the FBI and kept away from managing Malcolm X Audubon ballroom door security on February 21st, 1965. On February 16th, 1965, the Statue of Liberty plot was carried out and the men were arrested just days before the assassination of Malcolm X. And at the time, I was not aware that Malcolm was the target. On February 21st, 1965, I was ordered to be at the Audubon Ballroom where I was identified by witnesses while leaving the scene. Thomas Johnson was later arrested and wrongly convicted to protect my cover and the secrets of the FBI and the NYPD. I have placed my full confession to the care of my cousin Reginald Wood Jr. and I have requested that this information be held until after I have passed away. It is my hope that this information is received with the understanding that I have carried these secrets with a heavy heart and a remorseful regret my participation in this matter. Peace, peace, Antea. Peace, Silky Red. Jersey in the building. In the building. In the building. Wow, that was a lot, folks. That was a lot. That was a lot. And see, I'm going to tie this into the other informants that we've been, that has been brought to our eyes. Because see, it's some informants and cold people and what they call confidant informant, a CI, right? Like, some of those people that they use to do this are people that's presently in front of us being our civil rights leaders. And I'll get to that in a minute. But this letter troubled me for one thing and one thing only. It wasn't until the death of one of the guys who was convicted of this crime that he confessed. And then the other part is they're always saying, and I understand under duress, you're young, those times black people didn't have it, as good. And then if you get a job, you can take care of your family, security. But see, this is the scary thing about that, right? That's always the thing with us. We'll always choose to harm our people for some idea of they're going to harm my people. So you'll put 30 million black people in hell just to save your family. So that your family won't go through the trials and tribulations that we all went through. And then when you did something like this, you just made it that much harder. Because you allowed them to kill someone that would give us the self-esteem and the fuel to be better as he was becoming better. And then you wait till 2011 to write this confession letter. Like how did these people live with themselves? How do you live with yourself knowing that there was a mystery and Malcolm was killed? How did you live with yourself every January? When Malcolm was killed, what day was that? Every February 21st, how did he live with himself? How does he look at that? And whoa, that was yesterday. That was yesterday. So on the 22nd of every February, how does this man live with himself? Like, how does he reconcile that you got Malcolm X killed you, that you was able to raise your kids if you had some, see your wife if you had one. You took him from his kids. His 4 kids had to live without their father because of you. Like, I don't feel sorry for this man. I don't feel sorry. I don't take his bedside confession and I don't have no sympathy for him because you knew. Like, you took another man's life and family and all the dreams and aspirations that his family had, and you mortgaged them for yours. It said Raymond Wood's family is more important than Malik Al-Shabaz's family. He didn't have the courage to say, you know what, if y'all gonna pin these crimes on me, instead of him going to jail and dealing with the false crimes, he chose to get Malcolm X killed and then watch people be convicted of the crime and spend, man, jail is not fun. And if you got to spend 27, 30 years there, that's torture. That's inhumane. And for this man to wake up every day knowing that he set these events in motion. I mean, think about that. Like, he knew that he got Malcolm X killed. And now in 2021, what are we going to say to the NYPD? What are we going to say to the FBI? If these words that this man spoke in this letter, which we probably know is true, right? The most of us, for those who've lived long enough, we know it's true, right? But what do we do with that information? Does the NYPD lose their credibility as the best police fighting force in America? In the world? No. Nothing's going to happen to them. The NYPD's image will not be tarnished. The FBI's image will not be tarnished. This man got to die. And it's crazy. It's crazy how black life can be just swirled and tossed around and thrown about by not only white perpetrators, but black infiltrators. And then y'all get mad at me when I call out the guys who's always trying to bring white people into these spaces. Because the thing is, from being in these spaces, I think it's a lot of black men and women who would do the same thing. If they was given the opportunity to infiltrate a black organization and bring it down, they would do it. They would do it. With no hesitation. And then when the guilt and the shame kick in and the money run out, they'll have one of these confessions like, oh, I feel so bad that I got him killed. Oh, the money wasn't worth it. I just was trying to... they all say the same fucking thing. Oh, my family. They put pressure on me. My handlers. And they always talk about my handlers, right? So now, in the week where everybody's celebrating or everybody's reviewing the movie, The Judas and the Black Messiah, and we see William O'Neill and his actions and how he got Fred Hampton killed and how his handlers, who was the FBI, was, in Hoover and what he said. And now we see that this was the norm. See, I'm not just paying attention to William O'Neill. If any of y'all seen the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, I'm paying attention to the black dude that had on the pimp outfit, that gave him the drugs, to put what's his name to sleep. It was a fucking... So both of them gonna say that they had handlers and they were scared. So the black agent that came in and handed William O'Neill the cocaine and it was a movie, so it's probably some, but I guarantee you it was a black man who did it. And he came in the pimp garb and shit like that. And what was going through that black man's mind? See, this for me is a culmination of a lot of things, right? A lot of things that I talk about, a lot of things that bother me about being a black American, around certain type of black Americans. The conservative type, the ones who praise the GOP and praise the government and all that crazy shit. Right-wing government anyway. See, for me, this is a culmination that it just shows that there are black people who are complicit in undermining our success. And all of them ain't William O'Neills and all of them ain't Raymond Wood Jr.'s. Some of them are actually down with undermining black power. See, I pulled up a few names, right? I pulled up a few names just to kind of, see if I was onto something. Now, we got William O'Neill, right? But this is another person I want to talk about, right? William O'Neill, if y'all know, William O'Neill was the guy from from the Black Panther who undermined the Black Panther. And y'all know the end, how his story ended. He killed himself. Right? He did a documentary, Eyes on the Prize Part 2, and he was trying to be all indignant and like, well, you know, I was part of the movement. Wasn't part of the movement. You was a fucking rat. You were a fucking rat who couldn't take the time for the crime that you committed, so you weaseled out and you had no courage. So what you did was you infiltrated a great organization, an organization that was bound to do great things and created what we now know as the free lunch program, free clinics. I mean, they were the start of things that we now see white nonprofits take full advantage of. See, the Black Freedom Liberation Organization couldn't take care of their own. We need for the white nonprofit organizations to come in and do it. We need to give a layer of white economic stability to these people while they're acting like they're doing something beneficial to the community. So now in schools you see free lunches and free breakfast, right? And they usually get it from like R-Mark or some food distribution company. So instead of it being something that's done in our community, they made it, they commodified it, they monetized it, and now it's a business for them. And it helps them survive. It helps them send their kids to college through that nonprofit wing. But I want to read another name to y'all. Ernest Columbus Withers. Ernest Columbus Withers was the photog or the photojournalist for civil rights organizations, but he mainly went around. He was there for Emmett Till. He covered the sanitation strike, the Negro Baseball League. But his main job was an FBI informant. He was an informant for the FBI. This was the man, all those old iconic pictures you see. I mean, his pictures were so iconic, they're being documented, and they have been documented in the Library of Congress. Right? See, and that's what I'm getting to, Triple OG, about cats like that, right? Who talk that, who always, come on, y'all, we gotta go do this. Come on, we gotta go do this. We gotta band together. This the man, get the man, get the man, get the man. See, they be the fucking agents. Them guys that's always telling you, yo, we gotta organize, we gotta do this, we can't let them stop us. See, the one with the most energy and the one that's always rah-rah, you gotta watch him. But that's what I was getting to, Triple OG. But I'm going to get to that point in a minute. So, Mr. Withers, right? Mr. Withers, Mr. Ernest Withers, right? Not Bill Withers. I don't think he's related to Bill Withers. But Mr. Ernest Withers, okay? He was, they considered him active approximately 60 years, most notable work, IMPLICATED civil rights movement. He traveled with Martin Luther King during his public life. Withers covered the Emmett Till murder trial, brought national attention to the racial violence taking place during the 1950s in Mississippi, among other places. Withers appeared in a TV documentary about the murder of 14-year-old titled The American Experience, The Murder of Emmett Till. Withers serves as the official photographer for Stax Records for 20 years. And I know y'all heard of Stax Records. That's out of Memphis, the blues and all that. 20 years. Aries, you is a fool, Aries. You is a fool, Aries. You is a fool, Aries. You a fool, Aries. You a fool. You talking about I'm RBR's hailer. I don't appreciate you blowing his cover like my bad. So in 2013, the FBI released documents relating to Ernest Withers in response to Freedom of Information Act request by the Memphis newspaper, The Commercial Appeal. The documents began in 1946 with the FBI investigating Withers as a possible communist, as he was the member of the United Negro Allied Veterans of America after serving in World War II, and the group was thought to have communist ties. In 1968, a document contains the first reference to informant ME33R Ghetto. That's what his tag was, y'all. His tag was ME338R Ghetto. Think about that. Here we have an investigative body, the Federal Bureau of Investigations. And when they created this CI, this informant, his name was ME338R. So because when he came home from the war, and he fought in the war, he came home, he joined United Negro Allied Veterans of America, right? So what they tried to do is say his organization was a communist organization, put the pressure on him, made him fold, and then he folded and turned on everybody else and didn't blink an eye. If we want to know why we haven't made it and why our lives is a continual rerun of good times where we never get out that fucking apartment until the last fucking episode and we still don't know what happened to them. We just know it went off and Keith was supposed to get the apartment and we're loaning the move down the street. But for the most part, right, they never got out of there. Every time it was JJ got a job, out of there. Michael moved to Mississippi, Daddy moved to Mississippi to change it, out of there. You know why we never make it? Because of people like William O'Neill, Raymond Wood Jr., Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, this guy Withers. That's why we never make it, folks. We never get to the promised land because these motherfuckers always trip us up. Every time the ball get rolling, one of these start turning. So for all y'all that hate the phrase snitches get stitches, this is why snitches should get stitches. Now, if you touch the child, you murder somebody, off with your head. But this is why that terminology is so prevalent, because we have so many black people that's willing to sacrifice the entire race just to save their small little pie. Just to save their little crumbs, they'll sacrifice us all. Now let's get into Mr. Withers real quick. Okay, so it says general information including pictures, brief description of meetings and events. There's limited specific information saying what he did. So for 2 years, he went around with Martin Luther King taking pictures, but he told them everything. He told them everything. Think about that. Here it is, you're witnessing a 30-something-year-old black man just put his life on the line, his soul and spirit. You know what the death threats is like. You know what he's facing from the government. And you still set him up for failure. You still set him up for failure. You still put him in, you still put the race in a position to say, listen, good morning, Ms. Dinini. Peace to you, my love. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. And you put the man and the whole black civil rights movement in jeopardy just because you couldn't stand on who and what you were. See, all these informants, right? All these informants couldn't hold what they did. Like the cop, you wrong. Like if somebody's coming to you, I mean, it was like, and this is the crazy part, right? At that time, Adam Clayton Powell was the bomb. That black cop could have went to Adam Clayton Powell and been covered, because Adam Clayton Powell didn't care. He talked crazy to everybody. So that black man didn't have nobody he could go to and be like, yo, listen, man, you know, they want me to do something, man, and I don't want to do it. Because he wanted to do it. I bet you he was one of those ones who was like, man, fuck them black Muslims. See, they went and they knew who they was picking. They paid attention. He would have belonged to places that we know today. He would have been over there in the manosphere with them niggas. Kicking it. See, he was complicit in the shit. He was down with it. And then he gonna say, oh, I felt so bad. How could you hold that so long? And you watch what Malcolm X family went through, what Betty Shabazz went through, what her grandkids went through, what her kids went through. You watch this play out in real time, knowing that it was your fault that all of it happened. Because you could have easily stopped that from happening. Not to say you would have stopped them from taking him out, but you could have stopped that event to that day. And he chose not to. And now this sympathy letter is supposed to come out and we're supposed to feel some agony or some sympathy for this man. I don't feel nothing for this dude. I don't feel nothing for him. I don't feel nothing for William O'Neill. I don't feel nothing for this Withers guy. I don't feel nothing for Al, Jesse. I don't feel nothing for them gentlemen. Because they all did some nonsense just so they can get what they was trying to get. Exposure. Like, it's no coincidence that 20 years after King was killed, that the first black man to run for president was his right-hand man, Jesse Jackson. Right? The bill had finally come due. They was like, all right, Jesse, we got you, man. And they knew damn well Jesse Jackson ain't have a fucking chance in hell to win the presidency at all. But that was the goal. That was what he got. That was his shekels that he got for helping them get Martin. Like, it's no coincidence that Malcolm and Martin died and Jesse and Farrakhan elevated. I mean, it's no coincidence. That ain't no coinky dink. It was made that way. It wasn't no coinky dink. So now we're in a position where we got to deal with this information. We got to deal with the shock and awe of knowing that the FBI and the NYPD worked to get this man out of here. That a municipal city police department aligned themselves with the federal government to assassinate a black man. And all those black NYPD officers, they going to work today and they not going to blink an eye. Ain't none of them going to be saying, man, I can't be a part of no organization that killed Malcolm. Ain't none of them about to turn in their badge and gun today. None of them. And that's the crazy part about it, is that when they tell us to our face what they did to us or what they have been doing to us, none of us will have the courage to be like, well, you know what? Here, man, you take this life, man. I'm good. I'll live off the land. Because we're in such survival mode that any level of shekels or any level of insular protection that we may get if we do some fuck shit, we're willing to take just so our family can have a piece of the American pie. Not understanding that your family ain't gonna never be happy. Your family ain't gonna never be successful. Because the universe know you did that fuck shit. The universe know that you set in place some shit to destroy your people. It's crazy to me. And the way they put it out there like it's nothing, like it's a nothing burger. Like, just, it's stories about it, but that should be on every time. That should be worldwide news. Because it's proof that this government, that the forces of this nation have coerced to take out our best and brightest on a regular basis. See, so when people come at me about crime in our communities and all this and that, the crime in our communities exists because they don't want to fight the crime. If they fight the crime, then you can't have families that get cop, white cop after white cop after white cop after white. You can't get that because then they're gonna have to compete with the black men that's not criminals, that hasn't been put in the criminal justice system. Now, some of us chose that, but some of us didn't. Yes, Ralph Abernathy. Yes, straight up Judases. So when we pay attention to actions like this, these actions are to be detrimental to us, but it's a survival technique for them. It's means, it's justifying the means to an end, locking us up. Not damn snow melting, falling off the damn roof, locking us up, taking away opportunities from, if you get a felon, you can't go for this job, you can't go for that job. So then those jobs, the fire department, the NYPD, all those jobs for years was white, Anglo-Saxon dominated jobs. Right? And they did it to survive. Because I always tell people they put those prisons out in those farm towns that's no longer farm towns or no longer have an industry. So they put a prison industry there just so those people in those communities could survive off the prison. See, everything they do is for their survival as a group. Everything we do is a survival for ourselves. We sacrifice the group for individual protection and shekels. These men sacrifice our trajectory as a functioning, excelling race of people for their own lack of courage and fucking fear, and to protect their family. I mean, he said that several times in the letter. I didn't want to say this because I want to protect my family, and if they find out that I told, they're going to do something to my family. Did you care about Malcolm X's family? Did you care about his 4 daughters, his beautiful wife, the future, his future lineage, his future heritage, his future legacy? You didn't care about any of that. So now this confession letter is supposed to be some mea culpa that you fucked over your people. And even the language that you use, oh, my black people. Oh, so now they're your black people? You didn't know when you became an informant you was black? So when you became a policeman, you didn't know you was a black policeman? You didn't know that you belong. You didn't know you belonged to the black race? It didn't dawn on you until after they killed Malcolm? Then you realized you was black? Oh shit, I'm black. I don't think any of it's true. I think that he had animus towards that organization because some people just want to get along, and he felt comfortable getting them rebel rousers out of the way. Because see, that's what we got. See, we got a bunch of black people that tell us, man, don't ruffle their feathers, man. White people ain't bad, man. We can hang out with them, man. They all right, man. Come on over and kick it with them, Art, man. They good, man. They all right, man. Come on, man. And what we're seeing, not only through cinematography with Judas and the Black Messiah, but through open confessions and press conferences where we're seeing black men who sacrificed their whole entire race just because they was afraid and they wanted to get along. All 3 of them. Hey, I'm about to drop the link in a minute, Renaissance. You can come up here and chill with me while I drop the rest of these stories a little quick. Let me open this up a little bit. Yeah, man. I mean, it's crazy, man. This is crazy. And y'all know this is my, for me, I'm for my people, man. I'm too for my people. I'm loyal to a fault. Like, I shouldn't be down here in the ghetto where I'm at. But for me, I feel comfortable. I feel at home. But a lot of people that love me, they like, man, you need to go back to New York or go back. They want me to go back to the time where I was successful, right? And my thing to them is, if you have a passion about something or you have something that you want to do in your life, like, you're going to try it until it pushes you away, until it tells you, okay, we can't do this. And I haven't really got to that point yet. I could kind of feel it, right? But I haven't got to that point yet. And I think the universe opened it up so that I can have this platform, so that I can kind of share my ideas with like-minded people. And maybe in doing that, I can summon some different energy to try to go back out there and do some other things. But for me, it's like, when I read because when I first seen that story, I was like, damn. Because as black people, we gotta accept a lot of shit, man. We gotta accept a lot of things that's just not right. And this is not right. To know that the FBI and the NYPD was complicit in this, right? And then they get to, they brand don't get tarnished. They brand, nothing happens to them. Nothing. Nothing can be done here, folks. There is nothing. Oh, nothing. There's you know, that's the end of it, right? It's just going to be some stories told about it. You might get some interviews here and there, but what is going to be the justice? What justice will Betty Shabazz and her kids, what justice will they get for this? None. But the thing is, the Wood family feels as though they did something good. They feel as though they released it. They released this pressure, like, oh, we just needed the world to know this happened. And that Ray was sorry. Yes, Ray was sorry. He was sorry as hell. Ray was a sorry sucker who killed the man who evolved and was living a human experience to make his people better and to teach them how to evolve. And Ray decided that it was more important to him to help them kill this man than to just be like, you know what, I ain't with that shit. I don't care. Put me in jail, do whatever you got to do. We're not willing to sacrifice ourselves. We're willing to sacrifice others just to get along, just to get a paycheck. And I know he never, ever felt comfortable. Ever. I know it was rough for him. I know it was rough. I know. Let me get this link to you real quick, bro. You want me to, hey, Renaissance, you want me to send it to you? Oh, no, I'm going to just drop it. I'm going to just drop it in the chat. I just dropped it in the chat, bro. So, yo, tell me what y'all think, man. What y'all think about these confessions, man, and all these informants and how it was just so many informants that infiltrate. I mean, think about that, man. Malcolm, Martin, Fred, three geniuses, three men who loved their people, who loved being black, who had no problem with being black, who thought the most important thing in their life was to make sure that black people felt comfortable with being black and that they had an equal share into this world, into this society we lived in. And for that, they were killed by people who looked just like them because these people didn't have the courage or they didn't have the knowledge of self to understand that if you kill this man, you're going to kill your kids' dreams. You're going to kill your kids' freedom. You're going to kill your kids' ability to live in a world that doesn't oppress them. Like you just didn't hurt Malcolm and his family. You hurt yourself. You hurt your kids. Like at the end of the movie, at the end of the Judas movie, I just couldn't believe William O'Neill's, his aboutness. Like I don't care. I was with the movement. Like, do you know what they got him listed as in Wikipedia? They got William O'Neill as an activist. An activist. He was active, all right. He was active in undermining Black America. That's what he was active in. They got him as an activist, not CI, not his real title, right? Because this dude was bad dude. He was doing home invasions and kidnapping as a teenager in the 60s. So there was nothing good about this dude. He was terrible from day one. He was terrible. He was bad news from day one. And he walked out, they said he walked out into the road and killed himself. His wife said it was an accident. But for what they say, earlier in that day, he tried to jump off a third floor window. And somebody pulled him back. So finally, he broke away from him. And I guess he went out there and killed himself, which he should have done. That's what he should have did from the beginning. Took his punk ass self out. Because, see, he was the type of dude that would rob black people. So he had no problem robbing the whole race. If he had no problem going out daily robbing us individually, he was cool with robbing the whole race until his black man kicked in when he got 40, because he didn't have that same, rambunctious energy as a 17-year-old, as a criminal. See, as you get older, your criminality kind of fades. Right? So when he became 40 and he was mature and he had that gas station money for that gas station that the feds gave him, right? That he probably flipped and all that, because he was dressed nice suit, But when his conscience kicked in and his man kicked in, he couldn't live with himself. There was no way he was going to wake up another day realizing, like, wow, the jig is up. Like, when people see me, they're going to know that I was a rat. They're going to know that I got Fred Hampton killed. Renaissance, what's up, bro? Unmute yourself, my brother.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up, brother?
Okay,
Good morning to you. Good morning, bro.
Hey, no, good morning.
Talk to me, man. Talk to me.
I didn't want to interrupt your flow. I didn't want to throw that off. I'm assuming you're talking about the Malcolm X information that came out yesterday, where basically what it was, someone in the NYPD basically said to have his security arrested, so they couldn't be by the door at the Audubon the day he was assassinated. Yeah, that's crazy. That was the I can't remember what anniversary it was, but that was the day he was assassinated yesterday.
It was the 21st. It's 56 days to the day that he was killed.
Oh wow, 56. Okay, yeah, it's crazy. All this stuff just keeps coming out. Like we had the whole, like you said, the whole Judas and the Black Messiah, and then that information coming out yesterday. I sometimes wonder if these people really knew the full extent, like what they were doing, or they just saw the money and like it was too much for them. Because like it's the same. I read a story back. I believe it was Nat Turner. I believe during his rebellion there was someone who basically it may have been Denmark Vesey. One of those two. They basically gave. You had someone in the town who was black who basically gave word that, hey, these Negroes are planning a rebellion. And basically, snitched on him. And, the people at that time, they gave him a prize and some money, but he ended up killing himself later as well. So I just wonder if these people really understand what they're really signing up for when you do something like that. Like, yeah, go ahead.
No, see, for me, I think that the handlers see the behavior mechanisms, right? And they see, because when you join the police department and all that, you got to take tests. They kind of identify you, and when you're going through the training, it's always somebody watching. Me and you both know there's always somebody watching, right? Like even if you look at the movies, or you look at situations where they recruit black drug dealers, right, or they recruit black cops to be black drug dealers, right, to infiltrate black drug gangs and shit, right? They see that these individuals have a predisposed position to black fuckery, right? Or black behavior that they may find, not becoming. And during those times, we got to understand that there were factions regionally that found Malcolm one way and Martin another, right? Even within New York, you found black people who looked at Malcolm as like, man, you just a troublemaker. And then looked at Martin as a troublemaker, right? But then you had some Southerners who looked at Martin as a god, and Northerners who looked at Martin as a sucker. So when you got that dichotomy, and then you got, people wanting to undermine them, they're looking for people that has that animus already in them. It just needs to be tapped into. And they tapped, and they seen it, and I think they tapped his shoulder. I mean, with no training, they put him in that thing because somebody seen something. Somebody's seen something in him, a little quirk, a little behavior, like, oh, he don't really like black people like that. Well, let me go talk to him.
But that's how it always is. Like I was, wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, like I was watching, I was looking at something on Fannie Lou Hamer, and they were talking about, of her. And the people she was with organizing for voting rights, they wouldn't just they put her in jail, and they beat all of the people who were with her, like protesting for for voting rights. But then they even made the black prisoners in the jail itself. They made them beat the freedom riders as well too. So it's always been an element of turn black people against each other. Like they were even saying, like when you look at just like if they had someone who they thought was kind of making trouble who was black, back in those days, they go get someone black to go and take care of them. They wouldn't even get someone white to go do something like that. So it's always been, to me, they've always known to play one another, the animosities of black people against one another to get them to sell out. And the biggest fear has always been a unified group of black people. Because you even see that, I even see that in just like moving around in small groups. Like I'll never forget, I was at work, and it was me and actually three other black guys that I work with. We were all just walking to the cafeteria, and this lady goes, "Uh-oh, here comes trouble." And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, it's just four of us walking, we're four professional black men walking to the cafeteria to get lunch. But I've noticed that always, that when you get a group of black men together, it's just like there's something intimidating about it. And I think that manifests itself on a higher level is there's this fear of black unity. So you have to turn them against each other.
Yeah, and like that's why when I was talking about the movie, right, the Judas movie, that's why I was talking about the wording, the things I was listening to, the things I was paying attention to, because we needed to understand what the catalyst was, but we needed to understand how they recruit our own, how they get our own to do that, right? And if you take it back to the Malcolm thing, right, it was like it was almost like they had the NOI working with them, but they also had black police work on them. So they had enough people that they could involve in this crime to make it, involve in this plot to make it happen, right? And the thing is, how do we bring all the players to the table and discern who did what when you got information like this, right? Because the FBI was like, no comment, right? They get to be like, no comment. Right, and nobody's gonna hold the press conference today or go to the FBI director and be like, "Yo, man, this is devastating news." Like, Black America is not in a position. Psycho, come on up. Psycho, the link is in the chat. Black America is not in a position, or we're not positioned to where we be like, "Yo, this ain't just no thing you gonna brush under the rug." And see, that's the thing. Like, if you kill our freedom fighters and our leaders and our great people, we shouldn't let you get away with that. We shouldn't just stand by and be like, "Well, I'm going to work today. It's cool. It is what it is." That shouldn't happen. We should hold them to the same standard they hold everyone else to. It shouldn't be a thing.
No, I was just going to quickly say the crazy thing is, like, when you think about it, it's truly David versus Goliath. You got the richest, most powerful nation in the history of the world throwing their resources at you to try to just stop you from rising or destroying your community. And here you are basically trying to, just have some basic semblance of unity and power. It's overwhelming at times. Like, you got a whole division of government dedicated to nothing but trying to undermine your movement, putting all sorts of propaganda out there to turn you against each other. And it's like, how do you combat that?
Well, you can become
you're on mute.
Oh, you're on mute, AC.
Go ahead, Melon. Go ahead.
You could become immune to coercion, first of all, because that is the mechanism utilized oftentimes to get people to turn over. You could be totally rah-rah for your culture, the heritage of Black people, and then you got someone that knocks on your door and introduces a threat that is certain, where if you refuse to accept what they insist you do, they destroy everything you love. And so a lot of people were recruited to deceive their people in that manner as well. Now, I didn't see the movie, so I'm curious, AC, if you could say whether or not this is a coercion, or did they just
say it again, Mel?
How did they?
You borged a little bit, so I didn't get your question in full. You borged right when you were saying it.
Would you say in the movie, because I have yet seen it, would you say in the movie that there was instances of coercion more so than just, just thirsty guys that
All right.
got a payoff?
This is the best way I can surmise it. In the beginning, it was about coercion, right? It was just the white guy doing his job to infiltrate the black Muslims, and like it wasn't to kill Fred Hampton, it was to lock him up, right? It was to put him in jail, right? But once they see how well the CI worked, they was like, oh, we can do more with him. So they used the pawn a little bit more on the chessboard. So they put the pawn right next to the king, right? And what happened is the pawn was almost getting flushed out by the bishops and the rooks of the team, right? But he was given ways to maneuver around it. Since he was already into that life, he was quick on his feet to kind of keep them off balance. But they sniffed that he wasn't right. Something about him wasn't right. But what happened was, it was a moment in the movie where Hoover made it really clear what the mission was, because I don't think the guy knew what the mission was in the beginning. Right? Like when you in that position, that happened to me before, then I go back like, damn, sorry, well, Mella, like you got a certain mission, and then that shit go above your head, and then you like, yo, and then you go back to your superiors, and you're like, yo, what was that about? And then they be like, that was a decision made over your head. So what happened was, instead of them telling him it was a decision made over him, they explained to him exactly what the mission was. This mission is for white survival. And if we don't take that black man out, that black man is going to create a bunch of black men that may have an option in being with our daughter. So it went from coercion to where this guy was like, the damn FBI agent even went to the damn Fred Hampton rally. That's how deep they got with it. To where he was letting the CI know, yeah, bruh, we all in this together now. I'm here now, so I'm watching your every move, because now I know if you don't do what you got to do, we both going to get taken out. Because Hoover made it known to the white dude, listen, I know you got kids, and he didn't say it in a threatening way, but at the end of the day, the white dude understood. So there was a sense of coercion, right, in the beginning, but then it became about murder. Death is the end result, and we got to get him out of here. So
right. Erasure, erasure,
yeah.
and it's true, because no one is more influential on the planet than a black man. No one. Okay, let's get that straight. And with that being a biological fact, due to the strength of how you all are built, just your chemical nature, you all are just vibrant. I'll put it that way. You vibe closer to the sun more so than any other race. You just vibe. The melanin. It's the magic of the melanin. So with that being said, because you're so influential, it is important to silence you. It is very important. You all are very, God forbid, you're articulate and astute and all that other kind of stuff, and you're not willing to sell out your people, then yeah, you will be a problem. And what actually occurs oftentimes is, they find somebody that's very influential, they pull them to the side, and they ask them, who do you love? Because we will get rid of them if you continue upon this path. And
that's what he said to the white guy, Mella.
Right.
He said, I know you. He said, how your kids doing? Like to tell him, yeah, they babies, right? If you don't get him out of here, we gonna get him and you. Let me go into Psycho. Psycho, what's up, baby boy? Holla at your little bro, man. Talk to me, Psycho, because you did an amazing job on this when the other documentary came out about it. So I need to hear what you got to say, bro, and then we're gonna take it back to Renaissance Man.
Oh, well, yeah, this is, I wanted to touch on this assassination of Malcolm X, because I studied this stuff for decades at nauseum. So I'm well informed of all this, and this article that came out about police involvement and everything else, this is just confirmation of what a lot of people who research this stuff already knew. Right? It was police involved, informants all in there. There was FBI informants all up in there. So we kind of already knew a lot of this stuff. And this kind of just laying certain things out. My issue with this article coming out is it gives these Farrakhan apologists out, right? Because these Farrakhan, I was actually arguing with a couple of them the other day over in the conscious community when this article first came out, because that's exactly what they did. They tried to use this article to excuse the minister's involvement and the Nation of Islam as a whole involvement in the assassination of Malcolm X. And yes, they had FBI informants in the nation. Yes, they had police informants inside the nation, but those are not police or federal agents that pulled the trigger and killed Malcolm. The feds knew that the assassination was going to be attempted that day, and they didn't do anything to try to stop it. The police knew that the assassination was going to be attempted that day. They didn't do anything to try to stop it. That's what they're guilty of. They're not guilty of actually pulling the trigger. Right. And what they're doing, and what this article is going to do for a lot of these apologists out here, is give them an out where they can say, see, look, this wasn't the Nation of Islam that did it. It was the police. It was the feds. No, they knew it was going to happen. They threw a battery in their backs, and they did it. That's what they did. And you said that, and you said that before on your show. I will give you that. You said that they threw a battery in them fools' backs and they did it, right? And this is my thing, and I agree with you 10,000%, right? And the reason why I say that is because the guy pretty much said that. He was like, my job was to get his muscle away. And how did he know who his muscle was? Because somebody in NOI told him, right? Because it was a relationship that was fractured, but they still all knew each other. You know what I'm saying? Right. And how would you know to pull those two guys out, right? How would you know that? And you just, you know what I'm saying? And then you were giving this instruction to deflect them and take them over there to do this stuff. And that's my thing. Like when that popped up, ain't nobody say, man, Malcolm X ain't trying to blow up the damn Statue of Liberty. Like when things like that, like make it make sense. Like I wish that term "make it make sense" would have been out back then. Because like make that make sense. Malcolm X wants to blow up the Statue of Liberty. Right? Or the black, like that wouldn't have made sense, right? Nah, it wouldn't have. So that in itself should have told somebody in the inner circle something ain't right.
I wanted to quickly ask you, Psycho, how do you think it gives them an out? Because you literally have video out there of Farrakhan pretty much saying that the nation was involved.
Oh, but these people are cult members. Renaissance. These people are cult members. They don't believe nothing. They believe. These women who did not even give their birth certificates, any of this other stuff and everything else that said they was of age when Elijah Muhammad was sleeping with them, but they just said it and people just believed it. They didn't check their records or any of this. Like these people, they believe whatever the minister says. If the minister says I didn't do it, he didn't do it. That's good enough for them. That's confirmation enough for them. So these people who, because ever since that documentary came out last year on Netflix about the Malcolm X assassination,
who killed Malcolm X?
Right. Now the information in there was correct. They just omitted a lot of stuff, which that was my problem with that documentary. They omitted again Louis Farrakhan and his involvement.
So now, but can I just say this real quick? Now we know why those two FBI agents was at that dude's funeral, Psycho. Remember the two FBI agents that was next to Sheila Oliver? See, and look at the positions that people got that was privy to what was ran by
Muslims. What was ran by Muslims?
Well, I know that, right? Like,
but Muslim heavy town.
I'm talking about the residual jobs that people got, where Al Sharpton is to the day, right? Where Jesse Jackson was in the 80s, right? Like where Sheila Oliver and all these people have intimate ideas and knowledge of what took place.
Well, I was going to say, Arthur, you're up in New Jersey, right?
Psycho is too.
Okay, dog. They from watching the documentary, they made it sound like it was just an open secret. Like you really didn't have to dig too far to really figure.
Well, where Psycho lived at, where he lived at, it's an open secret.
Right. Well, to a certain degree. Like I touched on this after the documentary. That was another problem I had with the documentary. They kind of villainized Newark, New Jersey as a whole. Like they made it seem like the entire city was in on the Malcolm X assassination, and that totally wasn't the case. It was the Nation of Islam that mosque number 25 that just so happened to be in Newark on South Orange Avenue, the old mosque number 25. But it was like folklore, right? Like it was kind of like stories whispering that Malcolm's killers actually came from Newark, especially when the Spike Lee movie came out. The rumors even started getting more and more that the killers actually came from Newark. But people say things and you're not sure what's really going on. But I started researching it even more. after the movie because the buzz started coming more, and that's what kind of got me on my passion about being religious, about trying to figure out who actually killed Malcolm. But I know people didn't have names, right? It's not like people knew the name or the exact person who did it. They just heard stories and rumors, so yeah, the rumors was out there, but nobody actually, only a few people on the inside actually knew who it was.
But have those people broke the silence though? Has anybody?
They was afraid. They were afraid.
To this day, they're still afraid.
Like you don't understand the power in Newark, Mama.
Yeah,
they were afraid.
Muslims run it.
They run Newark to this day.
They run Newark. They've been running Newark since the 70s.
To this day, and they're not, and they will put that work in.
Wait, don't y'all have a lot of gentrification going on up in Newark though too?
Now, yeah.
But that's downtown. That's like downtown.
Yeah, that's a certain area. And if you look at the city hall and everything else, it's a black ran city. It's a black ran city. We got nothing but black councilmen.
Yeah.
The mayor's black. We ain't have a non-black mayor since 1972. Since 1972. It was the last time we had actually it was 68. 68 was the first black mayor we had, and we haven't had a non-black mayor since 1968. So we have nothing but black people all in head leadership that's running everything. So yeah.
But I mean the guilt that some people have to carry when you see where our community has gone, and you see that you killed someone or were involved in someone like that who was trying to do so much good and has so much influence, like that's got to be burning some people up.
But this is the thing, Renaissance. They give them nonprofits, right? And if you watch that documentary, these guys were career criminals, driving around in Benzes, boxing gyms, this, that, and the third. When the guy died, that they said was the trigger man, because if you watch, you could see the shit, the bag, and all. You could see everything.
His name is really Bradley.
Right, and when he had his funeral, our lieutenant governor was there, and
Cory Booker was there, wasn't he?
Yeah, but and when they asked Cory Booker and her. When they asked them to about it during the documentary, they was hush, right? They was hush because even they know what it is, right? Like Psycho can speak to this more than I can, but I live in New Jersey, so it ain't too far off. Like I live in a different part, and where I live at, we don't necessarily have the black influence like where Psycho live at. Like Newark is more about black pride. Down here is more of a blue collar town. So, people just getting jobs and working factories. Yeah. So they never really got a sense of blackness, right? But the people who was in charge of this or who did this, they were protected. That's why they were giving money. They were giving shekels. That's why it was no problem for them to do it, because somebody always had money to make them, when they came crying, like, man, I feel bad about this. Oh man, here go another check, man. Just don't say nothing. Just keep it between us. And that's how they do it. Because I'm gonna tell you, I remember when I got locked up, right? First time I got knocked off with something heavy, right? I'm sitting in the cell, right? And the motherfucking cop walk up to me and he hands me a blue card with his number on it. He like, look, this all can disappear. You tell me where you got all that from, and you ain't got nothing to worry about. And at the time, I just sit back there, like I would have never entertained that shit. Like, sir, what the fuck are you talking about? But that's what made me get out the game. You can't go up against that. Like that, you can't, if that's how they get us, I'm good. Because you never know who's going to take that blue card and call.
Right. And like I said, Nation had a lot of pull out here, and that's not the only murder that Moss is guilty of. They murdered the head leadership at one point in time, dude by the name of James 3X back in 1973. He was the head leader of the mosque out here, mosque number 25, the same mosque that the killers came from out in North, and he was the leader of the mosque out in Jersey City at the time. And yeah, he got killed. He got killed by the Nation of Islam. He wasn't as big as Malcolm X, so it didn't become as big of a story. But yeah, and oddly enough, Minister Farrakhan is the person who founded the mosque out here in Newark and in Jersey City, because he ran the mosque out in Boston before he became the national minister. He was running the mosque locally out in Boston for a long time. That's all he had to come up at.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, I was going to say to Psycho, and I was going to say of all of that, like, can you argue, I mean, you know more than I do, can you argue all of these things really hurt the clout of the Nation of Islam in the long term from what it used to be?
Not in this area.
Really? Not. I mean, I'm talking about
Well,
nationally.
Nah.
Really?
Because if you look at the 90s, I'll say the late 80s into the 90s, Mr. Farrakhan was the face of consciousness. He was the face of consciousness. I mean, look, when the gangs and all that was going through their stuff, and they had the whole Stop the Violence movement, and we all the same gang, and they tried to get all this. Mr. Farrakhan was at the forefront of all that. He was the forefront of all that. He was the face. They started quoting his quotes and everything else. Like Farrakhan, that's why people think so highly of him now, because he was the way he was propped up in the 80s and the 90s when the Nation of Islam had his new resurgence, because they had fell off in the late 70s because of the split, but that was after Elijah died. That was after Elijah Muhammad died. And
so you think it had more influence and clout post Elijah Muhammad dying and Farrakhan reopening and rebuilding it?
Right, the rebirth. Right, when the rebirth happened and Farrakhan renamed the Nation of Islam and started his own sector or whatever, because the original Nation of Islam got taken over by Elijah Muhammad's son, and they went on to practicing more traditional Islam. Right, they wanted to get away from pseudo nonsense that Wallace Farad and Elijah Muhammad and them was indoctrinating people with, and they wanted to get more into traditional Islam. And the Nation of Islam kind of got defunct for a little bit, and then Farrakhan in the early 80s picked up the mantle, started it back up, and kind of rebranded it, and now we got the nation that we got today.
Do you think Farrakhan lives under the umbrella of all of this, and that's why he kind of talks the shit that's like, it's kind of like, I know y'all want to get me, but y'all really can't get me because I know what's up.
Right. He's guilty of conspiring. He knows he's pretty much gotten away with it at this point, and he knows it's not too much he can do. I don't think the feds is going to be on him, because again, I think he knows some information that the feds don't really want him to put out there. He ain't going to put it out there because that's going to incriminate himself. So, but
when he passes on, do you think they may drop like, okay, this is the skinny, to kind of be like throw kind of the same way they'll throw dirt on like a Michael Jackson or someone else's legacy?
Well, the white people, the average everyday white person ain't gonna, they already, his legacy is already shit to them. Like that average everyday white person do not like Minister Farrakhan.
No, I mean amongst even the community itself. Like, how someone can. Oh yeah, you know how like someone who's a hero will die, and they'll be like, oh, by the way, he was involved in all this, and then he can't be here to defend him.
Not his star supporters, because star supporters are religious, and they messing with him because of spirituality, and you can't tell people anything about their prophets. That same thing with the reverend. If the reverend's sitting here and he's getting caught in his office messing around with a married woman, committing adultery and everything else, so it's still going to be a group of people out there that's going to still go to the church the next Sunday and give him a pass because that's the minister, right? So it's the same philosophy. These people are cult members, and they're going to ride with him even after death. They're going to ride with him even harder, because then he's going to even look less flawed while he's dead. Because people become bigger after life, and I think that's what Farrakhan's going to do too.
So they're gonna martyr him and immortalize him,
right,
even though they knew all the nonsense that he did. And I think that just comes from us giving a pass to people because they somehow become Messiah to us. Like, I really wish that we can just get past this Messiah complex we have in our community, so that way when they take individual leaders, we can keep going, because they knew. Think about this. Each one of these men we're talking about today, right? If we talking about Malcolm, we talking about Martin, we talking about Farrakhan, right? Each of those men, let's skip Farrakhan, but any black man that was about something that they took out, his movement and his energy stopped. It's like we wasn't prepared to pick up the mantle and go forward. It was almost like when Malcolm told everybody to go home. It's like soon as somebody go home, we go home. Like we don't stay to say we want justice, right? We want something.
We in love with the personality and not the principles, unfortunately.
Right, because and you're right, because when I was asking some people on a panel hold on, I'm gonna give it to you in a second, Mella. I was asking some people on a panel the other day, why they weren't pro-black, black men, and all of them kept pointing to a group. to an individual. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not pro-black. That's that individual. Like, that's not what pro-blackness means. Exactly. Following him like that. Wait a minute. Well, then, they robbing the people, and wait a minute, bro. Like, so your idea of pro-blackness is some individual coming up with ideas and solutions for the community? So for me, we just don't have an idea of what pro-blackness is, what blackness is, and we let it get, and it's a fear thing, right? It's a get along thing. And it just shows that idea has permeated generation after generation, because now black people really want to put their blackness down. They want to be Hebrew Israelites. They want to be indigenous. Like, they don't want to be black anymore because it's so uncomfortable for them.
That's what I mean. A lot of people don't even know what pro-black is. Like people will call these indigenous people pro-black and throw them in the pro-black box. Like, do you even listen to these indigenous people? They hate the term black. They hate blackness. They hate Africa. They say slavery never happened. Like, how do you call these people pro-black? These people are coons. These people are self-haters. These people hate themselves. They want to embrace something else other than them. They want to start acting like they shoot bow and arrows and live in teepees and everything.
Right, and have no connection to those people whatsoever, and then can't even show you a historical connection. Like, okay, if you can show me where this lineage created of legacy and lineage, I'll believe you. But if you just saying, well, we can't really find it, but it's back there somewhere, or trace me to the Olmecs, like, I can't give you all that. That's a stretch for me, and I'm not gonna condone your anti-blackness, because that's what you're asking me to do. Man, put your blackness down, man. They'll leave you alone. It's almost like, huh? What do you mean?
You know what it's all about. The main people that talk about this stuff just see what their preference is in dating, and that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know where all this is coming from, and everything else that has everything to do with. If you got an issue with people being for your people, then there's something behind that. There's something deep behind that. And the only thing, and every time you notice the people, because I've noticed, and I look, I ask, I peep game. These are people, just check their dating preferences. That's all I'm gonna say. Just check their dating preferences.
Mella, what's up? Talk to me, baby.
Well, the whole thing about people wanting someone to follow as a leader has been since the beginning of the scriptures. Everybody wanted Saul to be king, right? And it just goes from there. For whatever reason, we're not satisfied within ourselves to take on right from wrong. We need somebody to tell us what right and wrong is. And I don't know if it's a arrested development issue as to why you would need someone outside yourself to indicate what is left from right. I have no idea what. I think it's a childhood thing where people psychologically find it safer to follow a leader as opposed to instilling leadership qualities within themselves.
Can I expand on that idea, if you don't mind? Hello?
Of course.
Okay. You said something very poignant for me. It's childlike, right? And I feel like as a race of people, we're childlike. I feel like our arrested development comes from these people like Mr. Withers, Mr. O'Neill, and Mr. Wood, right? Because when we have teachers and people in front of us that will teach us that the leadership comes within, because that's what that's where Malcolm X was evolving to. But he was getting away from all that pseudo crap that he was hearing from his organization he belonged to and that hybrid religion that he belonged to, right? For him, it was becoming more about his blackness. His faith was still his faith, right? But now he was trying to observe it the traditional way, right? When he went to Mecca and he's seen all the different races and all the different people, that's, that white men that believed in the faith and Asian men. And so for him, it was like, okay, my faith is strong and everybody's in my faith, so let me go back and strengthen my people, right? And what they did is they handicapped us by taking these guys out, and they knew that the people they knew the people they were using to do it, right, was so immature in their understanding of our position in America that they was like, I'm just trying to survive this. Like, I don't want to get in trouble with mommy and daddy. Because that's almost like what these guys, like, even in him writing this letter as an old man, it was a childlike response. Like, and sound body and mind, and I'm right. It was like a confession letter, but it was written by a child that was in a man's body, and he was trying to use adult words, but it was just, I was scared.
No, I think
I was a scared child. Go ahead,
I was going to say, I think when you talk about that, they said he pretty much wrote this letter on his deathbed. I think it's one of those, you're about to, meet your maker, so to say. So it's like, I got this guilt or this thing that I feel like I'm not going to be able to explain away, that I got to somehow make right.
Crazy, because he was so childlike, and he thought when he got to heaven, it was going to help him out. I guarantee you, he thought that this somehow on the other side was going to benefit him.
But I mean, that's how a lot of people do.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah,
think
about that. That's the
Yes.
average religious. That's the average religious person walking around now. Like, they believe it's something greater than the life they living right now.
Right, like he thought if I get this off, you're gonna let me in the pearly gates season. So he was immature from beginning to end, and they took advantage of him.
But you'd be surprised how many people, like, even in the dominant society, that got that mentality of that guilt of, like, dang, I done this wrong all my life, and, like, I don't know what's on the other side, and there's a chance I'm gonna have to explain it. So let me try to do something to at least show I did some remorse before I left here.
And the crazy part about it is, if you would have just bit it was what Fred Hampton had said to Jeff Fort, right? Like, we should be grateful if we die like Malcolm or Martin. Like, we should be happy. Like, we should hope that that's our future, right? Like, he was trying to tell him, like,
be a martyr. He wants you
to be a martyr. Like, if you're a martyr for your people, that means that you live for your people. And Jeff Ford was like, oh my God, it was too big. That was too much of a thought for him. Like, he was like, oh my God, what the fuck did he just say to me? Right? Yeah. And that's what those guys didn't have. That O'Neill guy, the Withers guy, the other guy.
They were cowards.
Right. Like, instead of them saying to themselves, yo, listen, right? If I do this, I could save my people. Like, if I refuse to do this, my people got a chance. Yeah, I may be sacrificed, but my people got a chance.
Right. Like, why would you, like, and he did all that just to stay out of jail. Just to stay out of jail. Not taking charge. Like, again, going against the game, though. When you get in the game and you start doing all kinds of dirt, you're supposed to know, if you get caught, you just get caught. You got to do the job.
This is the thing. He didn't go to physical prison, but he put himself in a psychological prison, because I'm sure he thought about that every minute of the day, every second of the hour, what he did.
He killed himself the day after, the day that the interview.
The day that when it came out, he killed himself that night.
I don't think he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle it.
And the cancer, it's a lyric that Conway the Machine got in one of his songs, and he was like his man did something to him, and he just was carrying it in his chest, and his boy told him, if you carry that in your chest, it's going to turn to cancer. So guess what, Mr. Woods? You carry that nonsense in your chest, it turned to cancer, man.
Yep. And now my thing is this, though. If he did say no when he first got approached to infiltrate the Black Panther Party movement, it still would have been somebody else that would have infiltrated, because they had other informants.
Oh yeah, I said that earlier in my presentation, because my thing was, the William O'Neill guy was one thing, but the guy who brought him the drugs, the fucking drug, Fred Hampton, was a whole nother thing, right? Like, he wasn't an informant; he was an actual agent.
What wasn't O'Neill? Wasn't he trying to didn't he have like charges pending, and essentially he was trying to get out of it?
What he was doing was what he used to do was he used to go and have a fake FBI badge and tell guys that your car is stolen outside, and then, like, give me your keys and all this, and then he'll fake arrest them, and then he'll pull off with the car. But he took one across state lines to Michigan, and that's how he got caught up.
Yeah, so
that's a federal crime.
Yeah, so he was ducking charges then.
Yeah, but he was a terrible dude, dog. Yeah. He was doing home invasions and kidnapping in the 60s.
Yeah, they said, either you gotta do time or you're gonna have to help us out.
And he helped them out. And then they got him listed in Wikipedia as an activist.
Which is insane.
Activist.
Insane, yo.
As an activist. Well, Eric Bird, this channel is sponsored by Pookie and Ray Ray's. So you have a good day. Yeah, so, yo, I don't want y'all to leave because it's another topic I want to get into, and it's sports related, but it's also black related. We all know that PRIMETIME is now the coach of an HBCU team, and they played their first game the other day.
Here come the sports.
No, don't leave.
No,
Don't leave. No, don't leave. It's not what you think. It's not.
It's not. Unfortunately, it's not.
And while he was coaching the game, somebody went into his office and stole his wallet, his money, his phone, and other little knickknacks. And he said, "Thank God I had my chains on me." Right now, for me,
and that's the second time he's been robbed since he's been.
And this is sad, right? This is sad.
This is a bad look. Yeah.
Right. And you know why it's sad? Because there is not enough command and control and respect in there for that man, that this person who did that just didn't have the thought to say, man, I'm out of my damn mind if I do this. Right. And just not have the people around him, the security around him. Like, this was like hate 100,000.
Yeah, it's like if you should have had someone, because I'm sure he told someone, hey, this is what I'm going to do. You should have had some, even if you thinking like that, you should have had someone like, hey, nah, he's trying to do too much for the community. You can't go and do some BS like this just because you want to, you want some.
But this is the thing, Renaissance. This is the thing. We're so broke as a people, right? We're so on survival mode 5.0 that this person was only thinking about the lick. They wasn't thinking about the fact that Deion Sanders may go down as the greatest fucking defensive back outside of Ronnie Lott in the history of the fucking game, right?
And it's not like he needed. It's not like he needed.
Right, that's what I'm getting to, Psycho. It's not like he needed to do this, but he loved his people. He loved his people. So he was like, you know what? I'm gonna help them become PRIMETIME. He's trying to put his whole embodiment of who he is on this brand to make them PRIMETIME. But because we're such devoid of understanding the importance of blackness, they thought he was a victim. They thought he was a lick. A Hall of Fame football player who decided to come make this environment better for the motherfucker who even stole from him.
Right.
Yeah,
they made him a victim.
Because I was gonna say, just him being the coach there, you just got the recruiting boost alone. Guys transferring or guys signing. So I mean, you gonna bump up the program just by the sheer talent you gonna bring in, even if you ain't even got the best coach.
Right. And Deion didn't even play for HBCU, so it's not even like this is his alma mater or no shit like that. You know what I mean?
Like, he came all the way off his Hall of Fame perch to go to the Chitlin circuit, and this is what he get in his first show.
Yeah, I mean,
his first concert, motherfucker, break into his dressing room.
Deion also got, remember, he back in the hood now. He back in the hood now. He got.
I understand that, but Psycho, man, come on, man, like
at an age, but it's not. But even you could argue it's not even necessarily the hood, Psycho, because I mean, you at an HBCU. You're supposed to be at a place where people supposed to be striving to do better, represent the best of the community. Like, and this is what happened. And like I said, because
that's what leads me to believe these are probably players and not necessarily regular students. Because the players
I think it was a player. I think it was a player.
Because the players are the ones that usually the most downtrodden out.
No, it couldn't have been a player because they was on the field. It happened during halftime, so it couldn't have been a player.
And I was going to say, even that, you got to think, you got plenty of these players who go to, predominantly white institutions, and you don't see stuff like this happening. So it's just
they show more respect. Yeah, they do. They show more respect. Yeah, exactly. You don't hear about Rick Pitino getting robbed and shit like that and everything else. So yeah, you're right.
Because we see each other as victims. That's why those black coaches in the NBA don't make it, because the black players don't respect them unless they put their foot down, like a Doc Rivers or you know what I mean, or Tyronn Lue.
I got a deeper question though. Is this lack of respect for Deion or lack of respect for the institution? Like if Deion was coaching Florida, if he was coaching Florida State with his alma mater, he was at Florida State. And he had those same individuals around, like whoever robbed him. If that person was at Florida State, would he have tried it at Florida State, or did he try it because it was an HBCU and he felt like he can get away with it?
I think they just hated in their heart, and they just wanted to steal from him, and they thought that they went into it and said, "Oh, he won't miss this shit." He Deion said that's all it was.
Yeah, I think it's jealousy too. Like, I mean, and I don't know if it's like
they had some personal vendetta No, I'm just saying.
Okay, yeah, we heard
That's what it
you.
sounds like.
Go ahead, Renaissance. I think you right too, kind of, Mello. Go ahead, Renaissance.
No, I was. It's just like it's like when I saw it, it was just like I said, sad because I remember back in December when he had a boombox in his truck and he had to. He was like, "Hey, this is a personal item. It may not be worth much money, but it's sentimental to me." And it's like, now this has happened 2 times in the past like 3-4 months, and it's just like I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't get and people looking don't get like, oh, this is how they're gonna repay me. Like I hope he sees that there are people who are grateful, who see what he's trying to do, and don't let this overshadow, the fact that, hey, I've been robbed twice.
They're trying to make them paranoid. They're trying to make them too paranoid to help people.
Hey,
and it's a personal vendetta. It was seen.
Can I add something to it since we on this whole thing of like CIs and behind the scenes people? Now, do y'all think that this is something where somebody wanted to turn from doing this?
Oh, you mean like the Greater Society, kind of like they always said,
COINTELPRO shit. You mean
like in
sort
the
of,
'90s, like in the '90s, they said like with Different World and stuff like that. That made people want to go to HBCUs, and then the show automatically disappeared.
Because like if Deion Sanders attracts those great players away from those PWIs and attract them to HBCUs, those PWIs are gonna go through some hell.
Now that's a good point. It could be
and I ain't a conspirator. You know that, Psycho. I ain't a conspirator.
But that's legit though. That's legit because these big institutions, this is a big move, and this is a threat to the big institutions for the same reasons we just talked about.
And they said he got a running back and a quarterback and I think a free safety. They said these cats is like A1 steak sauce. Like
that's what I'm saying.
Like PWIs is like, wait.
This is dangerous because one or two things. Well, actually, if this continues, 2 things are going to happen. One, the players are going to start thinking about going to HBCUs and everything else. Which even during the different world,
AC, I'll talk to you later. Congratulations,
thank you, baby.
Again.
All right,
okay, peace.
All right. I was going to say with that too.
HBCUs, I'll be done. 1 sec. Even the HBCU, like even back when the HBCUs was booming during the Different World days, players still wasn't going there, right? Like these were everyday black people that was just looking for education that caused that boom. But the players still was going, like these athletes and everything, they still was going to the big D1 schools. Right. Now these players start going to these HBCUs. That's going to cause a rupt in the NCAA. That's why it's starting to be reformed because they already talked about making these super conferences and everything else and merging all these conferences into this and that because of the playoff situation now in football. And like, so that's either going to happen, and then that's going to probably force the new system that's going to be put in place. I believe it's going to be a new system put in place in college football. It's going to force them to actually rank these schools up to a D1 status and make them their own super conference. Just throw all the HBCUs in one conference like they plan on throwing, make like a mega conference or something. Like they plan on probably merging the ACC and the Big East and making this super conference and everything else. Because football dictates what these conferences do in the NCAA.
Right, as far as alignment and all that, the football money. The football money is what makes people make a Syracuse go to the ACC instead of staying in the Big East, right? Or Colorado going to the Pac-12 instead of staying in the Pac, whatever that was before.
Mountain West.
Big 8. Mountain West. No, Mountain West still exists. I think it was the Big 8 or Big. They was in the Big 12. Okay. Colorado was in the Big 12 before they went to the Pac-10.
Right. I was going to say too, the other thing with all that is if you start talking about like a super conference, HBCUs, or you start talking about people wanting to see Jackson State play, you talking about rights with the school, like television rights with the school and the broadcasters. You talking about money they get if they join the conference. You talking about sponsorships, like all the
deals.
Yeah, all of that. So there's a lot of money involved if this took off in the right way. So you do have to wonder if someone, if this was someone planning and plotting this, or if it's not, that just makes it even worse. That someone doesn't even realize, what you stole this man's wallet and cell phone. So what you probably got maybe
no, they took it back. No, they.
I'm about to say you can track your cell phone. Right?
No, they put the APB on him. He got his stuff back within an hour.
Oh, he got his stuff back.
So they caught the dude. So they did catch the dude.
Hour.
Okay, so who they catch? Who they catch? Was it?
They don't say it. They just say he's a student. They won't say, you know, what it is. But see, this is my thing, right? And the reason why I said that because,
but see, if you're a student, you should know better. Like you should be able to see like your institution. All this is doing like. But see, it's not something from the hood.
But that goes to us. That goes to us, Renaissance, and that hunger and that starving and that the black rich can replace it. If we take it from them, they can get another one. Like that type of shit, right? Like the desperation on both ends of the scale is putting us in terrible situations. Like the desperation of those informants, right, is one thing, and the desperation of this thief. Right, because this thief is going to be an informant. See, that's why I looked at like, wait a minute, like this ain't the first time this person stole, right? Like, and then for him to just go at Dion, like, come on, dog, like if that was if it was a white coach, would you have broken his office and stole? No, 9 times out of 10, no, right? So It's like the desperation on both ends of the scale are putting us in positions to where we're undermining ourselves, because whoever did that, you're undermining your institution, bro. You're undermining all HBCUs where Deion Sanders was the new cocaine and was about to take everybody to the next level. Right? Yeah. Like if he did it, then you got other Hall of Famers that sitting around like, well, shit, Deion made this pop off. You know, because they got that saying, right? That great players don't make great coaches. Right? They got that, We've seen it. Magic sucked, Bird sucked, right? And these were great players, right? Isaiah sucked, right? But they weren't good coaches. Right? But then you see middle of the levy players are great coaches. The guy that played for the guy that coached Dallas, he wasn't a great player with them great Boston teams. Yeah. He was a big player.
Steve Kerr was good, but he wasn't a Hall of Famer.
Right, he wasn't great. He was good because he played with a great team.
Right, he was a role player.
And then he got Tony Dungy. I mean, he Tony Dungy a motherfucker, right? Like he had Mark Jackson's groceries and cooked that dinner. Right, you know what I'm saying? Because Mark Jackson wanted to be
actually John Gruden did. You mean John
Gruden did? I'm sorry, John Gruden did. Thank you. Better phrase. Right? So he cooked the meal with another dude's groceries. But I'm saying this to say that young man or that young lady, whoever did that, they undermined a greater goal. And the greater goal is that if people see Deion Sanders successful at an HBCU, then you're going to get more black men who are going to be like, you know what, fuck the NFL, man, fuck them PWIs. Let me go try this. And then you have people like the Bezos wife who's giving millions to HBCUs now.
Right. Especially, what's going to change the game is where these kids get drafted at. We'll know 3 or 4 years from now, because
that's not going to matter.
One of his kids, yeah, it will matter.
Not where he gets drafted, where they go to school. Right now, if you can play, the NFL going to take you. They're not going to care where you go to school.
Right, no, but
you're talking about draft ranking, because people go, because you got to
understand. Yeah, people for recruiting purposes, right? Right. Because to be able to bring in new talent, you got to show that, okay, like Alabama. The reason why Alabama can bring in all these people, because they can say, look at all these NFL players we produce. Look at all these first round draft choices we produce every year, and this, that, and the third. So they're going to need to compete with that. So that's why I said where they draft actually matter. They need to be like at least middle tier first round or something like that to justify them going there. Because if you get a good player that goes there, tears up the conference, everything else, but he only gets drafted bottom of the second round or top of the third, people aren't going to be too quick to go, because they be like, I can go to a different school, get more prestige, and get drafted higher, which equals more money.
And honestly, better facilities too.
That's why you took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say that the facilities, like, that's their problem. They have no recruiting magnetism. Like, there is no magnet, but because most of those guys want the white. They big J triple X, where the white girls at. I love you, big J triple X, but that's your saying where the white girls at, right? So most of those guys are attracted to the white girls and the wonderful training facilities, right? And the wonderful amenities that they get when they done playing, like Oregon.
Oh yeah, just for football alone, my alma
mater, University of Oregon, like that shit.
My alma mater just spent $100 million on a football-only facility.
Have y'all ever seen University of Oregon's shit that the Nike dude built, that Phil Knight built for the University of Oregon? Have y'all ever seen their facility?
I've seen a little bit.
That shit is
Oregon. Man, listen, you got to remember, that's Oregon. They don't have a whole lot going on outside the Trailblazers.
Right, I'm saying, but I mean, just the facility itself is just first world. They got these cocoon things where they can go and
I used to live in Austin. Man. The UT, the University of Texas, my goodness, their campus is insane. Like in the training facilities, everything else, like they got their own bubble that they practice in and everything else, like on some NFL stuff, right? Like they literally got NFL type facilities going on for their football team. And like it's like you know, like when you get below the Bible Belt, college football is a religion.
Yeah,
college football is literally a religion when you get below the college belt. So I mean, excuse me, the Bible Belt. And like so they dump ass loads of money into these organizations. Like these are the NFL teams, so to speak. Like they are more religious about their college football than they is actually the NFL.
And the crazy thing is, right, like Bear Bryant was the one who kind of cracked the bank where the HBCUs ain't getting no more players when they lost to USC. And he was like, oh, we can't let this happen no more. So all those black players that was going to the Alcorn States, the Jackson States, the Gramblins, the Savannah States, places like that, they started going to white colleges, to the Alabamas, to the South Carolinas, to the Texas. You know what I'm saying? So that robbed the HBCUs of great players because now Bear Bryant had to compete. So the SEC, which rarely had any black players, now had all the black players to choose from. They had the whole field to choose from.
And the Bear Bryant situation, Bear Bryant actually was open to getting the black players because he didn't want to fall behind the 8 balls. You know, Bear Bryant cared about winning, right?
He was a fan. He was worried about.
It was the university and what you call George Wallace. Wallace was he
on his heels.
Yeah, like George Wallace. Remember, he stood in front of the university, not wanting no black people to join the university. So he didn't even want black people in the university, much less be on the football team. So so he had to go. He had George.
He went up against a lot.
Yeah, he had George Wallace over his head. He had these people. So because Bear Bryant, if you go read up on him, you'll see he actually wanted black players to be there like 5 years before they actually got there. But he had, it was too much politics over his head, so he couldn't get him.
Yeah, and see, that's what Rob. So when I look at the shit that happened to Dion, for me, it's like, wow, like is somebody saying it's I mean, how is it not reminiscent? Because, like I said, if these HBCUs become prominent football factories and prominent basketball factories, that's going to be detrimental to the NCAA, especially the PWIs, because they make billions upon billions of dollars when those contracts with the TV contracts, the Nike contracts, the stadium rights and all that, they make billions and billions of dollars. And if great black players start now looking at HBCUs as options, that's going to be detrimental to them. So I'm wondering, like, what's that really about? Or maybe it's just an inside thing, but I just hope that doesn't deter great black men from feeling like they can go help these HBCUs out. Because for me, I always felt like, why the fuck do HBCUs struggle? Like, all these rich black people in America, like, what? Like, we can't have a foreign-made concert to help all the black HBCUs? Like, really?
The sad part is, like, a lot of the alumni don't donate.
Because they ain't making money. Their degrees that they got from there don't really translate into booming jobs.
Yeah, it depends on what they got it in. Because I know plenty. My company hires a bunch from the HBCUs, but they hire in STEM grads, though. So if and that's not too many HBCUs, right? That's like a North Carolina Central, a Tuskegee, right? And North Carolina A&T,
right? But and they don't struggle like A&T, Central. They don't struggle, right? Like they pop it. You know
I notice. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I know it's a large segment of people that come out of HBCUs that just have a certain disdain for black people. Like, do you think the HBCUs is a funnel for the whole what's the term you always say, the 10th term,
talented
10th,
yeah.
right? You think that's like a funnel for that? Do you think like
it used to be? No, that's been dead. That's been dead.
Yeah, because
the talented 10th coming back and that died with RBR's parents. Real talk. Like his mom and dad was probably like the last vestiges of that shit. That's why he run around with that shit rolling around his dumb ass head.
Wait, both his parents went to HBCU?
Went to Southern.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they both went to Southern.
Mm-hmm.
They both went to Southern. Yeah, it's a few.
They moved to Seattle and had him.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And he tells a story about how his dad tried to recruit, black teachers from Southern to come to Seattle and sell out. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, just come to wait. He says sell out. Just come to Seattle and like get it. Or
well,
he really
if you black and you move to Seattle, like if you won't gun with a black woman, shit, your options ain't.
Oh, okay. You talking about? No, I thought you were talking about date. I mean, RBR used the word sell out for everything. I was being
facetious. I was really being facetious. I taking a pop shot at him because I know he listening.
Because I was going to say, if you legitimately recruiting black people there for good jobs, I mean, I can't knock you for moving there for a job.
Right. I was just going to chime in and say, yeah, if you move to Seattle and you single, you going to come out with a white woman. You ain't got to go there. Or Asian woman, right? Like, you ain't coming out. You ain't coming out. That water or something. I don't know, man. It's something that water or just, I don't know. Black women leave at the age of 12. That's place. I don't know, but it's something. I don't know.
Yeah, because my cousin Jared, he lived in Willingboro, right? He always had a black girlfriend in Willingboro. They had the prettiest black women in the world. Goddamn, this motherfucker moved to Portland. Y'all know what he brought back. My Aunt Joyce was livid. My mom was like, "Girl, he can love who he want. That boy's smart. He look how high he is. Let him love who he want to love." I was like, "Mom, you was crazy." Aunt Joyce is ultra pro black, so she ain't going for that shit. My mom was upset.
I feel like if you like you said, if you move somewhere, you just got to know the proximity. Like, it's just, what else you gonna do?
Renaissance. I tell Psycho that all the time. Psycho be like, Arthur, I don't want to hear that shit. I'm like, Psycho is proximity, man. What they gonna do? That's my rationale all the time.
Yo. I mean, that used to fly back in the day. Back in the day, you could have a better excuse back in the day. But in 2021, with social media and everything else, most people don't even meet or date people that's in the same town as them nowadays. They find people maybe in their vicinity, and everything else. Like, you ain't even got to go anywhere to meet anybody anymore in 2021. You just be on your computer and just randomly just meet somebody just in your house doing nothing on the toilet. You know what I mean? You can just meet somebody. Like, you ain't got to get all, you ain't got to get dipped up and all this other stuff, go out places and actually, go through the trouble of actually approaching somebody anymore. Like, so it's way easier to find somebody nowadays of your choosing than it was back in the day.
That's true. Well, I'm a little older, man, so I ain't been on the dating scene in a while, but you're correct in that. Yeah, y'all, now that you two guys up here, it's something else I want to talk about, right? And I know, Psycho, you kind of veer away from this, but you're a veteran in this space, so I just need your veteran. You guys go in more spaces than me. I'm basically GMT, Reg, and that's it. Like, I'll be watching Janine in front of clouds because I just like hang. They just crazy, and I just like listen to that crazy shit they be talking about. But I don't really engage people in the chat because I don't really know them, right?
You go to BMT, don't you?
I mean, once I used to, but me and bro cool. Like, I see him when I see him. Like, I don't really go to his channel, but I see him when I see him. Like, we cool. Okay. Like, we don't, we battle buddies, so we gonna stick together every go. Like, me and him can have a full on argument, but if you come for him or you come for me, we gonna make sure that we stand with each other. So, but this is the thing, right? This Kevin Samuels thing, right? It's so huge and it's so big, right? And everybody is tugging at his cape and like, how did he blow up like this? And how did he get here? And all this and that. We're seeing all these people from down here where he came from, and they all seem to have a problem, or they all seem to be defending this, that, and the third, right? And I just want you guys' take on whether people see that everything he do is pretty much a calculated business move, right? And he used this space and used the Chitlin circuit to get to the main stage. How do you gentlemen feel about that?
Well, I was going to ask you, did something else happen? Like, did he go viral on another video or something recently?
Well, the reason why I said it, because I just seen him with this comedy troupe, right? This black chick and this black girl, this black dude and this black chick, where they kind of do these comedy things, and they were pretending to be a married couple, and it was just like a funny skit, but he was in it, and I'm saying to myself, like, okay, like, now if y'all don't see what this is, y'all will never see what it is.
Yeah. Okay. No, so nothing crazy happened lately.
No.
Okay. No, because I was going to say, Roland Martin did make a video, and he even said, he said what Kevin Samuels is doing is brilliant. And he was like, he is someone who, I think he was a chemical engineer at one point. I think that's what he majored in. I think I hear a video of him talking about that.
See, and that's the thing. People are starting to question his academia. They're starting to question
I knew that was
his credentials. You know what I mean? They're pulling out shit to say he got a record,
For
that
good
he was
reason.
a deadbeat daddy,
For good reason.
all that,
For
right?
good
I mean, I knew that was going to come whenever you catch any sort of fire, especially in this space. You're going to have people who, for whatever reason, feel like you need to bring them along, or they just don't like the fact that you caught fire in this space and they didn't. And I knew the doxing, especially with what he speaks on, I knew he was going to have to A, dial it back a little bit, and then B, some of the rhetoric he was gonna that he was spitting out there was just gonna attract people who gonna dig into his past like that.
Right. Well, yeah, and he should get. Well, I ain't gonna say I'm not into the doxing and all this other stuff, but people should check his credentials to see what if he's actually the person he's saying he is. Because I personally always say he faked it until he made it. Right. Like he didn't become a 6-figure dude until he got 6-figure subs. You know what I'm saying? But he promoted himself as this 6-figure dude until he got those 6-figure subs. He fakes it until he makes it. Dude did an excellent job breaking this down. I think y'all might have saw that video or whatever. I forgot the guy's name.
Save the Sinner.
I think that's it. Yeah. I think that's it. He had made another video talking about him. Yeah, he had made a couple, but the first one he made, I remember I saw that one. And yeah, he did an excellent job bringing that down because yes, you go look up his past online. If he did all these amazing things, you should see some type of history of that, right? Like I tell people about my history and everything else, and where I came from, and people can look it up on YouTube and see that I really was doing what I said I was doing. But this guy, you look it up and it's like nothing. It's a ghost town. It's like, okay, where's all these people at that you was quote unquote styling for? I mean, you not for nothing, but you was living in Oklahoma City. Not too many celebrities are living in Oklahoma City. Not too many. You got
I thought he lived in Atlanta.
Well,
He's from Oklahoma City.
He moved to Atlanta.
Okay,
he's from Oklahoma City.
Right. Which is suspect all in itself, but I digress.
Wait. Why is that suspect? Oklahoma City.
No,
because it's not a metro.
Oh, move to Atlanta. Okay.
Yeah, the move to Atlanta was
the move to Atlanta. But the thing I would question with the Oklahoma City is, I mean, I'm not from Oklahoma, but are they on the forefront of fashion and trends and shit?
They're not.
You know what I'm saying? Do they birth metrosexuals? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was gonna say OKC ain't a big. That's why Kevin Durant and all them wanted to leave.
It's not beneficial to a person who's trying to have a cosmopolitan lifestyle.
Right. Like what he was pushing, that's not that's not the spot to be, that's not the proper area to have that career going. That's why it made more sense for him to go to Atlanta to try to get something going. But he was promoting it like he was already had it popping over in Oklahoma City, and it's like, where? Like when, how? And then he kind of went viral. This stuff took off, and next thing you know, here we are, with the Kevin Samuels sphere now.
So do y'all think anybody put him here?
No, he just I mean, he caught buzz. I mean, World Star Hip Hop does this to people. If you go viral on World Star Hip Hop, your channel's gonna blow up.
But from what I understand,
wait 1 second. That's how Sinetta blew up. That's how Tommy blew up. Like, you want to know how all these people blew up and they are who they are on YouTube? They caught fire on World Star first. The video caught fire on World Star. If you got a video, this stream right here gets on World Star and gets X amount of views, your channel is going to explode so fast your head will spin.
Hey, that happened to me in a bad way, though. I swear on everything I love. I had got into it with a cat in my hood, right? And we was fighting, and somebody was filming it. And I put the pause on him. And this person put the video on Facebook and YouTube, and then try to put it on WorldStar. But World Star got to ask some of the people for permission. So they sending me emails.
Well, I'm like, who the fuck? They will take your shit. Yeah.
But right. They was gonna upload her shit, but they was like, "Did you ask the people who's in the video?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know them." So she sent them an email because I cut her mom grass, so she knew my email from her mom getting invoices from me. When I seen her, and know how I found out? I'm looking at this girl walking to the barbershop. I'm like, damn, this bitch is bad. Oh my God. And her man gets out the car, and I know he's like, Uncle Buck, what's up, man? He's like, damn, man, you ain't had to do that to that dude. I'm like, what you talking about? He's like, man, you all on. Yo, he pulled up the Facebook Live and showed me that shit. And I was like, well, I went to her and I went bonkers. I was like, man, I got a business. I don't need this shit all over. I can go to jail for what I just did to him. Like, are you serious?
AC, let me
what's
jump
good,
in.
What's good for a circle?
Good?
Good morning, bro.
Brother, man. Yeah, let me address, not address in a bad way, but the part that Psycho said. Check this out. You mentioned, Psycho, that you pretty much put your stuff out there so everyone can find you or see you, right? And I'm looking at it like this. In some cases of some men, they don't put everything out there for everybody. It's not for everybody to get at the time that they're doing it on a business tip. What he's got, if you look at the views and the subs, if you notice, regardless if it's true or not that he's a chemical engineer or not, it might be true, it might be false. But who's to say how he's doing his thing to where it's like, I'm going to give a little bit, like crumbs in a way, but this is his way of doing things, so to speak. He can put it all out there for everyone and be like, oh, everyone's like, okay, and then they get bored. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not, and I can put this on a relationship tip. You don't show the woman everything in the beginning. That's not how you do it. You don't ever do that. So what he's doing, and it is a mystery. It's like all of a sudden a chemical engineer, once again, who's to say if he is or if he isn't, but you don't show everyone everything. And also to address this point to you, AC, when you get to a certain age, like, who's to say how long we're going to be on this earth? He's probably at his peak right now. They can look up anything that they want. And he's, if you notice, the woman or the ex-wife, remember not too long ago, 2 or 3 days ago, that was supposed to shut him down. It hasn't shut him down. So when you get to a certain age in life, you at the highlight of your life, not knowing if you're going to ever live to see tomorrow. So you're going to get everything you can because you have nothing to lose. And they say when a person has nothing to lose, they're the most dangerous. Keep that in mind. You have nothing to lose. You're the most dangerous. That could be either good or bad. So he's at the point to where it's like, I don't care what anyone says. And I'm not caping for the man. But at the same time, he's like, who gives a damn? You know, but he's going to throw everything. Now, who's to say next time he might be an astronaut, an airline, pilot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You have ones that will come up out of nowhere and everyone's like, ooh, like at a magic show. You know what I mean? Yeah. The rabbit comes out. You saw the woman in half. And then it's like, man, you just keep it coming and coming and coming. You just got us just coming into the show, the big show, So I had to throw it in. He's in his 50s, right? 50, in the next 5 years, 55, 60. He's like, I'm going to take it all. I want it all. And that comes down to these skits. If y'all notice that, next it'll be probably a little commercial. We looking at it like,
I just talked about the skit that he did. Yeah. You didn't see the skit that he did?
Yeah.
You didn't see the skit
I know the two people. I know the two people. I see Clayton Thomas and Tangerine. They're both wives. I know I used to chill with them before they even got married and stuff. Back in 2011, 2012, Clayton Thomas. I can't find the photos. I had them put away or I lost them. And I used to chill with them, man, on the comedy sector, man. But they good people and stuff. He done gained a little weight, Clayton Thomas, but they good people, man. So when I saw that, and Jenny, I don't know who she is. That was later on, but they good people. But when I saw where he was going with that, I said, oh yeah, go ahead and do your thing. No hate, but that's where he's headed. And I don't mean like Hollywood. He's just doing those small things, but I would love to see everyone go in that direction. You know what I mean? I would I'm gonna be honest, AC. If it's you, Psycho, I want to see everyone from here branch off to do other things, bigger things. Get what I'm saying?
See, that's what I'm pissed about, because I want Psycho to be big like them niggas. That's my beef.
No hate. I want everyone to reach their highest, not just from YouTube, and branch off, man. You have those singers, right? They be like they big bands, and then later on it doesn't work out. Then they go solo, and sometimes they sing, sometimes they don't. They fall. Sometimes they rise, sometimes they fall. Those singing groups. But in this case, Psycho, you a loner, AC, you a loner. You go on different panels when you want to, but when we see you, we know who you are as an individual, and I want to. Everyone see your individual talent. Use a smart. I'm gonna throw this out there, AC, and I had to get this out there, not just in the chat, but to tell you, use a smart dude. Also, another one. What is it? Action Potential. A smart dude. I love smart minds. Get what I'm saying? No homo.
Right.
I love intellectuals, and when you can get that out in the atmosphere, that's what we need. Even though the others out there hate it, they hate it. But at the same time, you putting out there like, man, I can't mess with you because they know that mental will F you up on some Xavier tip.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You are like a Magneto, Xavier.
Right. I appreciate that, man.
I listen to y'all. I hear
that's
y'all.
much love, man. That's much love. I appreciate that.
Potential will sit there and he'll turn to the side with them 2 monitors and be like, you know what? Not to you, but say what you want. I know what I'm talking about. Y'all some smart dudes on that East Coast tip. Get what I'm saying? And I
appreciate that. No doubt. I appreciate that.
Y'all
I appreciate that.
Together, nobody can F with y'all, but split y'all apart, y'all trip. Combine y'all together, y'all are minutes. You can ain't nobody can F with y'all. And I was up there with you on GMTs. I'm going in on the left another direction. When that happened with Jalen, you was getting it in, but I was getting it in on another end. And everybody was on that panel, you know, and I had nothing against nobody. It was just one person I was with, was Jalen. And
I got you.
Know that was effed up and that wasn't right.
Big time.
And if you continue to go in that direction, that's the example it's going to be for everyone. They're going to be like, if this Jalen, if he's nuts or not, if he got a mental issue or not, it's going to be okay for everyone. So what's the excuse? On Jalen's, it seems like he got some issues, but who's to say for the ones who don't have mental issues?
That just do it for GP.
That's why I jumped in. You had jumped in first and I jumped in next, and that could be on social media or in real life. You ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, you ain't doing no goofy shit like that.
You ain't
terrible.
That's how it should be on the YouTube tip where it's like, yo, back the hell up, man.
Yeah, that was terrible. That shit pissed me off.
Terrible. And I sat from the clouds and I was like, it was cool, it was decent, and he was just going in like a 9mm.
And that old lady fine as hell, little dumb young punk, little dumb young punk.
Seeing her AC,
yeah, but dumb young punk, like what's wrong with you?
You was like, if I had the opportunity, chance, I would have to fight you for it.
Nigga, we gonna be brawling there, cause that little chocolate old lady for real. Hey, yo, let me get Psycho in real quick for a second.
Crazy. Somebody should have been snatched.
Let me get Psycho in real quick for a second. Go ahead, Psycho.
Yeah, I just wanted to explain what I was saying and why I said what I said. Like, I understand. Like, I'm not a person that sit up here and say you gotta put your whole life out here online. Matter of fact, I tell people to keep as much. Tell people online on a need to know basis. That's what I tell everybody. You know, as much tell them what they need to know and don't tell them no more than that, right? But when you are putting yourself out there as some kind of dating coach, stylist professional, and you say you got all this business and everything, and you're trying to promote your business, and you're trying to promote your business of you being a fashion guru, I should be able to see some credentials down the line, because that's a business that you're going to put out there. You know, you're not going to keep your business secret. You know, like, I understand about the degrees and everything else. You know, if you don't want to tell people all that, that's fine. I'm talking about his business acumen, though, and he always made these claims that he was this fashion guru. First conversation I ever had with him. As a matter of fact, I find that conversation interesting when I go back and listen to it now, because first conversation I had with him, he tried to tell me I wasn't qualified to talk about what beauty was. Like, he I don't know this guy, never talked to this guy. He don't know nothing about me, but he straight came on the panel and felt the need to tell me I don't have the right to, or I'm not qualified. That was the term he said. I'm not qualified to talk about what beauty is, and he is, because he's a fashion guru and he's a stylist and all this other crap and everything else. And there's no evidence of any of this. That's one. Two, that's BS. Them talking about I ain't qualified to talk about what beauty is, because beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Ain't no other way of putting it. Like, I don't care what nobody says. I tell people all the time, the only thing that's universal about, like, you get the nines and the dimes, most people universally will agree that the nines and dimes are good-looking individuals, right?
But they may disagree on who the nines and dimes are even then. They may say they're good looking. They may disagree on it.
Right. But I might see as a 7, somebody else might see as a 5, because they might got a crazy standards. What I see as a 5, some people that got even lower standards going to probably see him as an 8. You know what I'm saying?
Psycho, that's the problem, though. Psycho, that's the problem. We're relying, and I'm not saying AC or any other people on the panel, AC yourself got a witness to this. We are putting our everything in one person. Get what I'm saying? Just like when they say with God, don't put your trust in man. You know what I mean? I'm saying that these people coming to him are sitting back on some whatever tip, insecure tip, to be like, I got to rely on man to tell me who I am. I got to rely on man to tell me who I should love and who I should be with. The hell with
you know,
Arthur, let me ask you this, Arthur.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else in this space? Because Kevin has always said that he came at it from a business standpoint with the cameras and who he hired, his video editing. Has he been the most serious as actually really putting the most into this? I've really only heard him and Obsidian really talk about this like a business from that standpoint.
Hold on, Buddha. I'll give you this. Come here. I'm gonna go get the snow in a minute. You gotta give me some time. I'll go get the snow off the roof. I got you. This is the thing, right? In comparison to what you may see when you look at big time streamers that do setups, right? That do streaming setups or gaming setups. Now I could say him, Angry Man, Obsidian, they're parallel to that kind of setup. They're parallel to that work ethic, right? But like a O'Shea is more like O'Shea assembles a team and then his team does the work and then you see him through the final product, right? So Kevin Samuels, what he did is they all have kind of got like a team to kind of help them, you know, see what's successful in the space, but outside of the black space, and add those elements to it, and then add that. See, because at the end of the day, right, what we're not looking at is his success is also aligned with the idea of critiquing blackness, right,
yeah,
and the dysfunctions of blackness, because that's critiquing us is a business, is a cottage industry, right? Where
he's on that Tommy Sotomayor type,
right?
Ship.
But what he did is he turned it into a metrosexual cosmopolitan thing, where Tommy Sotomayor is just a bummy guy who just, you know, expressing his blackness and tries to be like a neutral black guy. Like, I'm putting my blackness down. I don't dress fly. I don't do any of that. I just wear this shirt, and I'm just gonna have this common person.
And he got a bunch of racists in his
right
that follow him.
Right, and I'm just gonna have this common. I hate black people and I hate my dark-skinned skin. I hate how my mom treated me. I hate all this. So I'm going to live vicariously through my white, hateful fans, right? Where with Kevin, it's different, where it's like I'm critiquing black dysfunction, but I'm going to make it seem like I'm giving them the answers to fix it, where you're really not giving them the answers to fix it, because your answers can't. A therapist is not going to tell you what to do. If you go to therapy and you go to a real therapist, that's not why you're there. You're not there for them to tell you what to do. They're there to help you talk it out, figure it out yourself.
Now, that's what, you know D. Durrell, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, now that's been his critique of Kevin, is that he is a counselor. So he's been critical of like the advice he's been giving from a standpoint of actually, like you said, fixing and actually addressing problems versus more just on an entertainment type of deal.
Right, and that's what he's doing.
But Renaissance, hold on, AC, but this is where I come in. I'm glad, just jumping in, AC, real quick. Renaissance, I agree with that. D. Jarrell, shout out to him. Nothing against him. This is where he comes in. I get it. I respect his credentials, his career, you know, what he does. This is where D. Jarrell comes in full force. I know he gets in on the Lennon and the Umar thing, you know, and it gets sidetracked with the music, this and the other. This is the part where I want to see D. Jarrell shine. And not just you, AC, you know, I'm keeping you away, Psycho. I'm just looking at D. Jarrell since you brought him up. This is where you come in, because we know that he got something against the whole Kevin and Jessica thing, and nothing to not to take away from him. This is where D. Jarrell shines, because we know we don't have enough therapists, black therapists. We know a lot of us need therapy. So it's like you put your first foot forward. We get it that he comes in and says, hey, I got certificates to back it up. This is what I'm doing with group homes. He will tell us and talk to us all day, every day. But at the same time, to keep your door open to be like, look, I'm coming in straightforward, and I'm going to help these ones. The same ones Kevin is shooting down, coming at, and taking it as entertainment. I'm going to come in this direction to be like, look, this is how I'm doing it. Honestly, as much as it's brought up from Kevin, as far as therapy and therapists, how a lot of us need therapy, we need a lot more D. Durrells. I don't see it. I see it semi, but I don't see it. And that's the problem they see. We'll talk about it all day long, but we don't actually see it. And a lot of people want to be like how they're seeing Kevin, how he's blowing up. He's putting on a show. People are seeing it. D. Durrell, on your end, on the split end, you show us what you got and what you can do. We hear it. We kind of semi see it when you're talking to us in your vehicle, in your little office. But at the same time, it's like, we know how much we need. Give us more. And that's how Kevin is killing the game. You get it?
But can I say this? I agree with you. I agree with you on that. But this is the thing, right? He's killing the game because he's taking advantage of lazy people who don't want to do the self-reflection.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So when you do something like that, you're like, you're making everybody lazy, because now everybody's going to think their expectation is they could come to you and you're going to give them the panacea to their issues, right? And see, my thing with it is, I think all of them kind of do this, teach you how to bake the cake thing, but they never really tell you how to bake the cake. They tell you, well, you got the wrong eggs, you got the wrong creamery. So if you go to the store and you get the right creamery, but make sure
put
you
it in the oven.
Right, but make sure you wear a button-down shirt and make sure your man purse is this way, because if you don't have it this way, you get to the store, they're not going to give you the ghee butter. They're going to give you the cheap butter.
They all do it. Even the ones that tells you, and they have those books in Barnes and Nobles of how to be a millionaire. They'll have a something page book, and you'll be like, man, in this book, and they've made nothing number one sellers. Make it how to make millions. You sit there,
the whole dating industry is a hustle.
They'll show you certain things, but they won't show you the thing. They'll show you the stuff, but they won't show you the stuff.
Well, there's nothing to show. It's nothing to show. It's nothing to show. This whole dating thing is this whole dating thing.
Everyone is following the blueprint, and that's how they get it. That's how they make it, and they make their money, get rich. There's nothing new, y'all.
Yeah, this whole dating industry is a hustle. I mean, women been hustling this dating industry forever, giving women bad information on how to keep a man, on how to do X, Y, and Z, everything else. Like, this whole thing is a hustle, because there is no universal information I could throw out there that's going to work for everybody. I can't just go out here and just tell people how to bag a girl tonight and it just work for everybody. It's not, because everybody's not going to be able to approach a female the same way that I might be able to approach a female, or they might not feel comfortable approaching a female the way I do. So whatever information I'm giving them is going to be null and void, because they might not even have the confidence or whatever enough to do that, or they might not speak this way. I might say certain things they wouldn't say.
It's not going to fit their style.
Right. So there's no universal information that's out there. There's no hidden book. There's no secret knowledge. I mean, it's so subjective. You know what I mean? Like, it's certain things you can pull out there as far as building up people's confidence. That's the best thing you can do, is try to build up people's confidence. Other than that, everything else is subjective. Everything else, like
I was gonna say, the other thing too, I think Kevin taps into is he taps into some of the bitterness of some of the men as well too, where these women who they either felt like they couldn't get with or felt like had unrealistic standards. You'll see these women call into his show, and he'll basically say, this woman is delusional, this and that. So he checks these women in a way that I feel like some of these dudes, either if they did, these women didn't listen to him, or they didn't have the courage to go do. That's right. A big part of
they couldn't articulate it the way he does. So they live vicariously through him.
And guess what? He's building a team of like defenders of him who have who have no problem with talking about the dysfunction of black women. Like a Jessica X, right? Who's his British attack dog, right? Like, that's her thing. She likes to tell African American women that their standards are low and being a single mother is bad. And if you're a black man and you choose a single mother, that's the lowest of the totem pole. Not even living our experience. And where you have black people who accept her knowledge. Like, we was on GMT's panel this morning, and this British dude was just talking crazy about black people. So BMT, y'all know BMT ain't a confrontational dude. BMT was like, man, look, enough is enough, man. Like, and BMT ain't pro-black. He ain't none of that shit. He's like, enough is enough, man. Like, you Africans, y'all British motherfuckers, y'all come over, y'all talk all crazy. What about your family? What about in your backyard? What do y'all do, right? And that's the thing. He's assembling a team of people who already have a track record or who are willing to go to length to denigrate black people and tell them that y'all need our information to be civilized. Because that's what this is. He's trying to take that Eurocentric idea of civilizing us with the metrosexual dress and all that, and cut your hair and do all that, because he wants you to be accepted in the white world, in the Western world. Because we know in our world, if you got a mohawk like me and this dope and this cut right, you ain't got to worry about getting a job or pulling on. You ain't got to change or alter yourself to be accepted, right? So they want us to alter who we are so that we can be accepted in the world that they're trying to be in. And that's where, for me, that's where the problem comes in. I don't have a problem with a person going after their professional pursuits or financial pursuits. I don't have that, but it just has to stop. Everybody has to stop making a buck off of us. Like, we got to stop letting people come in and infiltrate us and then use us as a means to make it, right? And it's never to give back to us, but it's just to be like, oh yeah, we're going to get him because he has no problem with talking down to his people. Like, that's why they interview him. That's why he's so, you know what I mean? Because they don't have the courage to do it.
Yeah,
so
but
then
AC, I got a
when you say making a buck,
yeah, I got a problem with this certain part, not what you said. And he thought it was okay, the British dude. Check this out. Newsflash, and this ain't on no gossip tip. So something going back to Psycho, what you were saying, AC, catch this real quick. It's going to get out there. And it's not like some big ass news. This is with, if you're familiar with him, Mr. Sharp, Mr. Dayton coach Sharp. If you all are familiar with him, D Sharp. Okay, so I'm going to let you know this. And just to show you that white boys don't get down with it either. They against it, but I got some pushback even on the white boys. So it's being put out there that Donovan Sharp, I didn't know this, that he's married. He is married. Now, maybe it's a rumor, maybe it's just talk or hearsay. Now, the white boys are sitting back like, wait a minute, this ain't cool. Letting you see that they not down with the whole taking of money from people. You supposed to be this coach. You supposed to be this particular person. Now, on this particular show that was put out there, Steve the Dean was up there. And so I think it hit him too. Like, I didn't know this. So it's put out there in the air that Donovan's been married since 2019. But he's letting everybody, yes, that this man is a married man. But he's putting this stuff out there that, hey, all the advice and all the this and that and getting all the money, this is his business. But no one, of course, paying their money is knowing that without everything he's saying, that he's a married man. What I'm getting at, my point is that cats that get this information, they be knowing this stuff, AC, which is dangerous. Let's say, for example, I'm doing my thing, you doing your thing. You Mr. Historian, you know what I mean? You anthropologist, all that good stuff. I'm an anthropologist. You doing your thing, but at the same time, you selling something, I'm selling something. But you getting your money, I'm getting my money. But at the same time, the people not knowing certain things. Now, I'm not going to be a snitch and say nothing.
Right.
And at the same time, it's like, wait a minute, but you knew this all along. So where I'm going is that the white guy that put out this on the panel, it's like, but you knew this. And even though you ain't trying to be a snitch, you've been knowing this all along. I'm not justifying and condoning it, but what I'm getting at is some of these same cats that are close to certain people, they be knowing this. But they be the same ones behind the scenes allowing this shit to happen. They racking up like fat rats.
And that's the point I would talk about, his little cabal.
Right there, side by side. You could have said this back in before this person got big and blew up. Then all of a sudden, like, hey, I got some news to tell you. And everybody, I'm telling you, this is crazy. On the panel's like, what? This ain't cool. I condone that. That ain't right. You did, because you had the
you knew the whole time
something. You knew it back then, but you watched this person, not saying committing a crime, but you watched this person hand over fist, kill the game, and steal and take from these people. But yet he's been selling a lie, but you knew it all along. But all of a sudden you want to step in.
When these people
I'm against that, and I'm not, and I'm not saying this is just in the black sector. Just real quick, Psycho. It's not just in the black sector. It's the white sector. They not down for it, but I don't care. Color. Use the color thing if you want to. All of them do it. They be knowing it, Psycho, all along, and then by the time everyone came out like fat rats, they done walked away, and it's like, dude, you knew it all along. You're just as much guilty. You just as much guilty. Like, you knew all the information that this person was this, and this, and this, but you sit back and jump up, I'm against that.
That's why you gotta be careful.
That ain't right. Yo, you just as guilty, dude.
That's why you gotta be careful when people. That's why you gotta be careful when you hear these people try to quote unquote expose these scammers that they was cool with. And all of a sudden they not cool no more, and all of a sudden they get on their soapbox. I'm gonna expose you as a scammer, and they start talking about all the dirt they did back in the day, and everybody starts praising this person for putting. I got on side net about that because he did that with Polite, and when him and Polite had a falling out back in the day, he got on his soapbox and started talking about all the dirt and all the scamming that Polite was doing. And validating a lot of the rumors that was about Polite that he used to deny. He used to deny and say they wasn't true. Oh, they just hating on Polite and blah 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 and everything else. And then they had a falling out. And then all of a sudden he got on his soapbox like Polite did this and Polite's that and Polite. And I'm like, all right, so but it's saying a lot about you because you co-signed all that shit while it was going on, and you kept bringing them back on your platform.
And Psycho, and came right back, and we buddy, like Minnie Mo and Jack, without the Jack, we good buddies and stuff. You know what I mean? Come on, like Laurel and Hardy. They was cool after that. Like, man, come on, y'all all in this game together. You ain't fooling nobody.
See, and that's what I'm trying to say. And that's my point. So, like, are these people here to benefit us, or are they like the people that I talked about in the beginning? See, because I like to kind of tie my show before I end it. I like to kind of tie all my topics together and see if there's some correlation. So now we're looking at people who've infiltrated a particular space. Because from what I didn't know when he said that to you, Psycho, about you can't tell me about, fat, like, to beauty. Like, what kind of nonsense is that? Like, dude, how you gonna say because you some kind of coach or something, some kind of stylist, that style don't have nothing to do with beauty? If you're a stylist, you're dealing with the person wearing clothes. You're not dealing with the aesthetics of the person's face or features or whatever. So he said that to you because they can hear something in me and your voice, right? That we ain't buying any bullshit. Right. So they try to discredit us, right? From our diction, they try to discredit us and be like, well, where you talking don't seem like you would know anything about this, because that's basically what he was saying. He was saying, a cat named Psychopathist, what would you know about beauty? Just judging you, stereotyping you, right? That's why I don't give them I don't give them credit. I don't give what they do validity as far as me consuming it. I'm not knocking their hustle, but I'm not gonna go out and give it validity. I'm not gonna, oh man, that's valid what he's doing. No, it's not. Right? Because you're hustling your people, because your people don't necessarily have the time, the patience, the skill set to do the work that you're doing roughshod, right? Like you're telling them, you're giving them tough love, but you're really just giving them temporary anecdotal ideas on what they need to do. And then when they do that, it don't work, they got to come back to you and be like, well, that didn't work. All right, well, try this. Well, that didn't work either. All right, well, try this. Well, that didn't work either, right? So the thing is, they'll never tell them, like, yo, it's in you. The tools are in you. And once you're honest with yourself about who you are, you do the self-reflection, you'll be able to date who you want, live how you want, be who you want. But that journey starts with you. It doesn't start with me, Kevin Samuels. I can't tell you where to get on the bus at, where to get off the bus at. None of that. See, they're not genuine with the information. It's just saying, this is a group of people that we can offer this service to because they're intellectually lazy, and when it comes to doing the work on themselves and their psyche, they don't have the skill set because society has pretty much hidden it away from them and told them that mental health and therapy and things of that like is a sign of weakness, right? So now, have these people been put in our space to deflect us from self-actualization and listening to information? Because nobody's gonna come. We're not getting 1,000 people in our chat, which I'm mad that Psycho is not as big as him. Like, why does Psycho have to alter everything he do to meet his standard when he's offering better information and is going to be more real and genuine with the people? Like, the genuine motherfuckers, we gotta be, in the bottom of the barrel, while the disingenuous motherfuckers get to, use it as, well, he's brilliant. Like, okay. I mean,
but
okay.
AC, are you not saying that you're not? Are you being honest, not with yourself, but are you being honest overall? You know the answer. I gotta say this. This is nothing against you, my brother, but what you asked was Psycho. Psycho should. AC, you gonna be there soon too. We know you should. Like, remember when I gave you the compliment, you and production potential, great minds. We need more of that from the young to the old, especially black men. But if you watch it, even with KS, it's been talked about. Kevin, he's done his thing 3 years ago, hanging over there with Obsidian. He was over there on the. You remember back in the days with the Google.
I argued with him on Angry Man panel one night.
Right. But remember this: all it takes is, besides just showing yourself, and I don't mean in a suit, it's just studying. Now I'll give him that. I'll give him that. I'll give him that. He's figured out how to compile the information, and he processes and he utilizes the information to advance his agenda. I'll give him that. But Psycho does that too. Exactly. So Psycho does it too. But Psycho does it to where it's like I'm going back to what you said. Is it helping? Is it harming? Psycho is coming in to help. He's coming wholeheartedly, just like yourself, giving it to the people, the knowledge, this, that, and the other. It's going back to what you said, AC, on a lazy tip. People don't even want that. They don't even want that. They rather do the superficial fakeness, and we have to come to grips to be like, look at this. It comes down to not when I said about the honesty part. It was like, you know what? People are down with the laziness. Tell me what I need to do. Dang, it's like taking candy from a baby. From his eye, you're only one person. You're a Psycho one person. You got the thousands, the masses. Get what I'm saying?
Right.
KS is taking the broad road. AC, Psycho, and the brother up on the chat up here on the panel with us, we've taken the narrow road.
Right.
The narrow road is a lot more better in our eyes. The broad road is better for them, especially when there's money behind it. Look at all the thousands of people on the broad road compared to the narrow road. I say, as a suggestion, Psycho and AC, stay on that narrow road.
Oh yeah, I ain't going over there, bro. I don't do that.
Surprise,
Yeah, I'm
brother.
I ain't doing that. Hey, Renaissance,
Yeah.
get in here, Renaissance. Goddamn, get in here, brother.
No, I'm good. I'm just listening. I'm actually gonna drop down and listen in the clouds. I appreciate you letting me come
Okay,
up.
bro.
AC.
All right,
Thank
I'll
you,
holler at you.
Renaissance.
All right,
Okay.
yeah, man. I'm gonna
I
go
had
ahead
to
and wrap
say
this
that,
up, man,
though,
because
yeah.
I gotta get out here and put some salt down, man. Goddamn, people calling me already, man.
Yeah, it's snowing hard right now.
Man.
Snowing
Hey.
hard right now.
I
Yeah,
thought
man.
the day would be a
Be
break,
safe out
man.
there, brother.
Yo,
Be
man,
safe
I
out
thank
there.
y'all coming up, man. This was dope, man. I love you, smart guy, Psycho. You know I had to bring you on, brother. You know I had to bring you on full. Thanks for coming through, my brother.
You're very
Renaissance,
welcome,
thank you
brother.
for coming through,
Very
my
welcome.
brother. Everybody, Penny Sparks, up y'all. Miss Carolyn, Sweet P, Triple OG, everybody. My
That's
man
right.
Rollo, Joe Dub, Buster Free, Falconer, all y'all. I appreciate y'all coming through, hanging out with y'all boy AC, man. This was wonderful. We got a
Thank
lot
you,
of good
sir.
information out there. So, yo, full, man. Y'all be good. Everybody, I need y'all to do me 3 things. I need y'all to love yourself. I need y'all to make sure that y'all stay out of trouble and make sure that you get home safe. It's your man AC Star. Peace.